What's up, AFOLs? Today we have a special guest here in the studio. She is a Lego aficionado and the former manager of Bricks and Minifigs Boise, Idaho location. I want to welcome Taveya Marconi to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. This is such an
Thank you for
important topic.
yes, thank you for being on. Originally this thing has just gotten really crazy for a lot of us, and you included. And you and I have a little bit of a similar background. We both have an affinity for Lego. We both used to live in the Portland, Oregon
Mhm.
area, and now we're both in Idaho. So that's
It's such a
kind
small
of cool.
world. It's such a
Yeah, I
small
know.
world.
It's crazy. And I had, when I first heard of you, it was when I did a video. I think it was a couple of videos back about this whole thing, and who is the real owner of Bricks and Minifigs.
Mhm.
And then you responded to that. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I reached out to say, hey, can we talk a little bit more about
Yeah.
this? Cause I hadn't met anybody that has been, right in there in the fire, so to speak. I know other players in it, but they're not talking to
Yeah.
me at this time.
Well,
So
and digging deep, it's kind of hard to find somebody that's relatively objective on, I'm not interested in trashing anybody, and I don't want anybody to go into the local stores and say bad things. I mean, that they got a hard enough go of it as it is. But there's solutions out there. There really is. But the problems with BAM corporate is fundamentals. They're really not getting the fundamentals. And that's kind of where I want to hit on is the fact that, Reed's involved in this too, and he's not to be removed, if you will,
right.
because he's in the big part of it. He's a very big part of it. So he can't be left out. And that was going to be a huge factor for me in terms of I don't want them to shift the chairs on the Titanic and it'd be the same people.
Exactly. And I get that. I know a lot of people, and up until a week ago, everybody was looking at Ammon and the McNeffs, and
Hmm.
then, like Josh Johnson and Brandon Best. That's who everybody was focused on. And they're making these calls and they were doing all this stuff. And like I said, up until about a week ago, no one knew, publicly at least, no one knew about what was going on behind the scenes, or
Hmm.
there could be another owner that is kind of staying silent. And that's when I heard about you, and I'm like, wait a minute. And that's what happened to me.
Hmm.
I have that, the business card on my
Yeah.
desk, and I showed people before, but I was like, where have I heard that name? Reed Brimhall. And it was just like rolling in my mind. And then, I showed everybody already, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
the business card. And it was like, my gosh, it just kind of floored me. And I'm like, everybody's focusing on these guys right here, but there might be someone else behind the scenes that has way more pull and way more say, and nobody knows about. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so that's where you come in, and you have firsthand experience, being a manager there at the Bricks and Minifigs Boise location, with Reed being, basically your boss,
Mhm.
and the interactions you've had with him. So as this was unfolding, was it crazy to you to see everybody talking about, the McNeffs and stuff for X amount of time for like a month, and then you knew way more? Were you like, were you going crazy when you were
So
watching these
when
videos?
all this first started, I was told that if somebody called looking for their stolen Legos, she doesn't know what she's talking about, she's crazy, and to just hang up on her.
Wow. And that was
And that was from Erica, which is Reed's daughter. And
right, right,
I
right.
was that's all I heard. That's all I knew. And then my exit was in December of 25.
Okay.
So I didn't really hear about it much until everybody else did when it started going entirely viral with Bet. And I kept reaching out in the comments like there's more to this. There's more to hey, we need to
This
kind
is
of
where
think about who's the real player
hello.
here.
Yes, yeah. Oh
So,
my
and that was my concern is that if they take and just shift the chairs and move
yeah.
Eamon to a different position and Matt to a different position and put the face of somebody else and oh we've changed everything, well that's not transparency. That's not if they want to fix it, let's fix it. But if they don't want to fix it and they just want to hide behind all the shifting and changing the business names at 3 o'clock in the morning, and that doesn't show a lot of good faith.
No, not at all. And especially for public trust and stuff like that people want
Hmm.
they want a resolution, they want justice in this whole thing. And it's become like a worldwide thing. We've had people
Hmm.
even, here on my videos, they're calling or writing in from like New Zealand and other places that have heard of this thing, which is crazy to me because they've never even heard of BAM at all. And they're like, we heard about this, and we're with you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it just turned into this crazy big thing, but to have the real, I want to say, I know the McNeffs are a big part of it because they're making a lot of the decisions or have made a lot of the decisions that got us to where we are. But if they have someone else that's not stepping in or saying anything and allowing them to do these things, or even, and I'm only speculating, or even saying that these things are okay, that's just wrong. And like you said, you could take those guys out, put other people in, but who's coming in? Is it the same structure that allowed this to happen in the first place? So there's no real change if that happens, is what,
Well,
it's
and
what we're getting at and stuff.
it comes back entirely to the fundamentals. If you're not going to support your franchisees and train them on how to do things and give them a mini MBA so that I mean, some of these people have never run businesses before. They're taking their retirements, they're taking the equity out of their home, they're buying this Lego business because they've been told that it's going to make a ton of money. And there are franchises out there that have been out there for 2-3 years. They still haven't broke even.
Yes.
And that's
And
not
that's
okay because in
no,
this
that
business,
yeah.
you can break even really very quickly if it's done well. But you have to know those numbers to hit. You have to know and be guided into that direction. We can't spend 45% on salary or payroll. Can't spend, you know, exorbitant amounts on, classy fixtures that are going to last 3 years. It's just being wise with your money and taking things with wisdom and education and experience opposed to just running by the seat of your pants.
Right, and that's what I've seen. I mean, I've seen especially the franchises I know, not I'm not talking about the Boise one, that's a whole
Mhm.
different obviously,
Yeah,
that's a
no,
whole
that's a
different thing.
different
Not
ball
not
ball of
that one,
wax.
but the other ones that I've seen or talked to, and some of my I know personally, they're exactly that. They put all their savings into it, or they've mortgaged their house, or they've put all of this, all this these resources and their time into this dream that they were sold by Bricks and Minifigs basically. And a lot of them I see they haven't broken even. And that's more common than not, that I've, the ones that I've talked to at least, 1-2 years, and they're still waiting to break even, which is crazy to me considering, how big business Lego is. You know what I mean? Like everybody knows Lego, everybody, most people love Lego, and there's a lot of money in Lego. And I think that Bricks and Minifigs is definitely doing a disservice by not allowing them the, providing them the training and the actual, the real marketing they need, and
Mhm,
things like that. Because a lot of these people, like you said, they may love Lego. And that's, to have a passion, that's a good place to start.
mhm,
But to not have the skills, they've never run a business before. They've never, had inventory control and, foot traffic and all the things that go into running the business and to marketing it and stuff like that. They've never
mhm,
done that. And I think that one of the ways that BAM has really shortchanged them is not providing any of that stuff. And they're just kind of throwing out, taking the fees and then throwing them out there with the sharks and like, hopefully it works. Let us know if you need, let us know if you
No,
need
no,
me.
no, because at some point, it calls into question motive. Are they there for their franchisees long term, or are they churning?
Yeah.
If they don't have the tools and resources for their franchisees, if they're not accessible to their franchisees, if they're not accountable to their franchisees, and they're not doing the fundamentals that they promised in the
Hmm.
FFDs, and the FFDs are even calling into question on whether or not that they can be supported, then what is their real motive? They
Yeah.
took so they had 236-ish stores at the end of last year, and they were saying 300. Okay,
Hmm.
you do the math, and that's how many they had signed.
Yeah.
They've taken all of that money, and they were $1.5 million in the ditch at the end of last year.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
where are they
uh,
gonna, yeah, where's the money to support these franchises? You know what I'm saying? If they're
right.
already, if they're already in the red, where is that gonna come from? And that leads me to think about not just the franchises that are out there or the ones that opened up, right before this happened and then this whole bomb exploded on them and stuff like that. But the ones that are already signed that are waiting, that are waiting in the, right now in the wings for their store to open, to have their grand opening and all this stuff. Amid all this stuff, they got to be like pulling their hair out and being like, what did we do? You know what I mean? So I
Well, then
feel really bad. I feel
I
really bad.
don't want to lead too much of a teaser, but there is a teaser. When you look at the contracts are written in a way that are incredibly questionable to whether or not they're valid.
Wow. Okay.
So, and we can talk about that. We can talk about that later.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
That's
it's
very
gonna be
interesting.
it's a key component, and it's a very, very key component, and, there
Okay.
it's very consistent. I think when that comes out and when some other documents come out that are it and I watched your video on the Mormon Mafia, and here's the deal, is that I don't necessarily buy that. First of all, a lot of the Mormons that I've ever met have been kind. Very, very kind. And I don't
Same.
want to, yeah. So
Yeah.
I have the same sentiment. Looks more fast and loose to me.
Gotcha.
Inexperience and running fast and loose. Somebody else will take care of the paperwork later. Somebody else will, pay the taxes later. Somebody else will, do something else later. And when you only have so many guys running the ship and everybody's going, we'll do that later. We
Yeah.
just need to bring in more franchisees because that's how we're
Yeah.
solving our money problems, $40,000
Right.
at a whack.
Right.
So it's panic management at best.
Well, I mean, and why I did that video, I have received so many comments, like, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of comments while we're covering this story.
Hmm.
They're like, that Mormon Mafia, the Mormon Mafia. I'm like, what do so I'm looking into it. I'm like, what is that term? What are you guys, talking
Yeah.
about? And like just like you, where I live actually, it's a very big LDS community. And I'm not LDS, but it's been, my experience with the LDS has been some of the nicest, kindest people I've ever met. Some are my neighbors and my friends or acquaintances, like I said in the video. And I'm like, most of them that know about this thing that have talked to me about it, they're like, we are totally against that.
Hmm.
So that I'm like, I don't think it's what what you guys are categorizing it as, but it is.
Well, you
I
have
mean,
to understand you
yeah,
can make that leap pretty easily when the police department's involved.
no, I agree. And
And it looks
everybody
so
involved,
bad. It
no,
looks
it looked
so
really
bad.
bad. It looks so bad. I agree with that. And it's just a fact. And I understand where people are coming from when they're saying that or they're talking about that, because all the key players that are, behind the scenes, including most of the AFPD out there in Utah, are part of that same church. So it's easy to stereotype or to be like, oh, it's all the same
Mhm.
club. They're all doing
Mhm.
it. This is a
Mhm.
coordinated effort. And I understand where they're coming from, but yeah, it's that police thing just blew me away. Like, I know we talked before, and I used to, when I did film and television production, I did a lot of pro law enforcement shows, and I've met law enforcement all over the country, hung out with them. I've been in,
Mhm.
helicopters, crazy chases, all the crazy
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah.
And they were, for the most part, most of the officers I met, they're, kind. They're just, they have families. They're just there to, protect and serve.
Mhm.
And so when I saw what was happening, on camera, it wasn't even behind the scenes. It's on, body cams and stuff like that. And the way
Mhm.
they were acting and the way they were coordinated against Ben and his people, it was like shocking. And it just made, it made me have like a pit in my stomach. Like, I started like,
Mhm.
this is not good, and so it's,
Yeah, when you start
yeah,
infringing on civil rights.
yeah, it gets there, and people that see that, they're gonna be outraged. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You're gonna be like, "What?" And even the people in the community, they had meetings. They had like a town hall meeting, and the citizens even spoke up and said, "Hey, because of their actions, we don't condone this." The people that actually live there in American
Mhm.
Fork,
I saw
they're
that.
like, "Yeah, we don't condone it." And some of them were like, "We're frightened to live in our own community because of the law enforcement." So
Mhm.
that's kind of telling when the own citizens are like, "We're against this. Hey, this is not us.
Yeah.
Can we do something about this?" So yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. So, I'm just glad I'm not on that side of it. I'm glad I got out when I did, you
Yes.
know?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it makes me, and where I'm at, I'm about 3.5 hours from sea, but it makes me not want to go to Utah anytime soon. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest. I know Utah, we love you. It's not all of Utah, but I'm like, am I gonna go cruise through American Fork on my way to
Right.
SLC? Probably not. Probably not. So it just makes you think, and that's what's bad, because things like that give law enforcement a bad name, and then people start thinking, they start second guessing, or is this gonna happen in my town? And it's just not a good. It's just not a good
Well,
thing. So
yeah, but I think in AF, it's the natural consequences of their actions.
yeah, of course.
And there needs to be some consequences to those actions. And
Yes.
we'll see if that plays out. And if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But
Yeah.
history definitely repeats itself, and I don't know that it's gonna wash out positively. I think it's gonna just blow over.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have been in trouble before, the AFPD, and
Mhm.
they've had,
It's
they've been
consistent.
sued. sued, yeah, sued
That's
several
pretty on
times.
brand. Mhm.
Yes, but I think Ben, he may very well, for the violation and stuff, they may very well sue them. And I think the only apprehension he has is that he knows that if he sues the police department's not going to pay for it. It's going to be the
Mhm.
citizens and,
The
and the
taxpayers.
taxpayers and stuff. So I understand, both sides. You want them to learn that lesson, but at the same time, it's going to be put on the taxpayers that live in the community that most of them has
But
spoken up, said, we don't
it's
want
the
this.
taxpayers that can make change.
Yeah,
So the
that's true.
taxpayers have to step up and go like they did at that town hall. This is not
Yeah,
acceptable. We'll vote and people can come out and vote again and that's what makes real change. But if you don't have those natural consequences of the action,
yeah,
people of the city are going to freak out because their property taxes are going to go up and that's
yeah,
going to be a huge problem because nobody really wants to pay that much more for property. We already pay enough for property taxes.
exactly.
But I
And then,
don't mind paying for the services that I have the luxury of calling if and when I need them. So, I mean,
yeah,
they deserve to be paid, but at some point it's like this unnecessary expense needs to be accounted for, and that's one way that it can be accounted for is the city needs to vote and
yeah,
from the up down, get it all changed and straightened out. But at some point, if there's not a natural consequence and Ben lets up, they're not going to change at all.
right. They're gonna be like, got away with another one. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? That's exactly right. And
Yep.
yeah, it's hard, and it's hard too the way it works, like you're saying. I mean, they might vote against it, and I hope they do. They vote, against what happened and stuff, and then even if it raises some of their taxes, it's just sad that the people that perpetrated it are not necessarily the ones that are going to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the officers lose their jobs, or they have to resign, or the ones involved. But a lot of times, and I've seen it in law enforcement, is they may lose their position there, but then they just go somewhere else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then they,
It's a shame. It's a
that's what
shame.
happens. That's what happens.
It's the
So
world we live in. But
it's the
anyway,
one.
okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh yes.
There's so
Okay.
much.
Yes, so much. So I heard, and we can talk about this. How let me back up. So how many years were you there, or how long was your tenure there at the Boise store?
About a year and a half.
A year and a
About a
half.
year and a
Okay.
half. Yeah. So it wasn't very long, but it was
Okay.
it was pretty intimate
Okay.
because I had so much to do and so much in there and they made me responsible for so many things without the guidance. It was interesting. I
And
mean,
then
I don't know how a business runs without a business plan.
yeah, you're like, here's this. You go for it. Let's see. Yeah,
Right,
we don't
right.
have a plan. Here you go.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I was there a year and a half. And I
Okay.
was hired by Joe and Kendra, and they look at that store for people who don't have any Lego experience at all.
Yeah.
They want to bring people in that don't have Lego experience. I have a pretty strong opinion about that, but
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I'd love to hear it, but okay, so
yeah. So
were you a customer first? Were you a customer there?
no, no,
No?
I had zero Lego experience.
Oh, okay.
My brother got all the Legos. I didn't. I had the Barbies. He had the Legos.
Okay.
And so I had absolutely no Lego experience, but I had shopped in there once before. And then I heard the story behind it. And I was there when Devin was there and when Adam was there. And I had bought some minifigs before we had gone on our cruise. We did a Disney cruise and did the 7 days. It was a Star Wars cruise and
Oh,
Captain Phasma chased my kid. It was it was amazing. So I mean, it was just like
that sounds
it was
amazing. Yeah.
amazing. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, I do recommend the Disney. Disney does a great job on their cruises. But
Okay.
it was a Star Wars cruise, so I went into Bricks and Minifigs. I just wanted a couple minifigures. It was
Mm,
an amazing experience. But to leave with that much connection, I think it was like 12 years before I worked there,
yeah.
and to hold on to that without having any Lego desire, that was important for me.
Yeah.
And it was just a great opportunity. I was sold the opportunity based on the fact that they were going to open another store, and I would have that multi-unit management experience. So that's what sold me on it. And then shortly thereafter, I realized that that was not going to be the case. But I stuck in because it was the community and the people are the Lego community is amazing. And that's why this has gone so far because
Yes.
they actually care about each other and they come together and you deal with the lug groups and how those people have been together for years and they know each
Yes.
other pretty well and they help each other out to an extent that I haven't seen in any other community. I mean, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And getting out of Bricks and Minifigs, now I'm out of that network,
Mhm.
kind of. I still have my feet in it, but I mean, at some point, it's like I miss that. And I got to go to, we have Mock Fest. And so everybody takes their own mocks, and, we've got all sorts of great things going on. But
Yeah.
I got to see everybody again at Mock Fest, and it was just, it hurt on one end because I couldn't see everybody all the time. But then it was like, okay, this is going to be great. This is going to be amazing. I'm not out of it. I still have really close friends that we go and have lunch with. And so it's like, not like get to see them on a regular basis, but I get to see them on a regular basis enough that
Yeah.
it keeps me in there. So, but I'm not going out of the Lego community. This is a hill I'm going to die on.
Yes. And I agree with you 100% that there's just something special about the Lego community, AFOLs and everything. Like
Mhm.
this whole thing has made me because the local BAM here is my Lego store. You know what I mean? And so it's the
Mhm.
closest Lego store in 3 hours each way. And it's made me so sad because the people I see at a regular basis and stuff. And I'm just doing it because, I want my money not to go to where it would go if I went
Mhm.
into BAM. And so I could go there and talk to people, I guess, but not
Yep.
spend any money, but get recorded and all this stuff. You know what
Right,
I
right,
mean?
right.
Yeah, and so I do miss that. And that is a big part because they are some of the kindest, nicest, coolest people I've ever met. And
Mhm.
that's kind of for me when I haven't been to Lego like my whole life. I had like in the 80s, we had those like space sets and stuff. So I had Lego then and I really enjoyed
Mhm.
it. And then life happens and all these other things happen in life. And I just let it go for decades. And then it was my kids that I started buying them Lego, and then I'm like, let me build that with you. And they wanted, bigger sets, and I built it. I was like, this is freaking cool. And then
Mhm.
that's just and then it just snowballed into this whole big thing, and we get to meet so many cool people, such as yourself. And
Oh, thank you.
no, of course. It's just yeah, it's this cool thing. And I think with this whole bricks and minifigs thing, it's just affected everybody like so deeply and especially people with a passion,
Mhm.
for Lego and for other builders and stuff like that. So when one of us is wronged or whatever, we do come together and be like, hey, that is not right. You know what I mean? And then
Right.
when you tack on, stealing someone's collection is one thing, but then when you put, collusion and you put the cops in there and then you put, freedom of speech being taken away, it's blown up
Mhm.
way bigger than Lego, but at the core of it, it started with Lego. So that's where we're at with that. So you're before that, you said, your brother was the Lego guy. And then you went into the store and then you just felt it. You're like, this is kind of
Yeah.
cool. And you're
As a matter of
like,
fact,
yeah,
I walked
yeah,
into
to
my
minifigs.
yeah, no, I walked into my interview and I looked at my watch and I said, "Okay, so I can start Monday.
Yeah.
This is my job." And they're like, "Okay, you're hired. You're way overqualified. Why do you want to be here?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"This is why. I
Yeah.
believe in what you guys do. I believe in the community. I had a great experience when I was here. And, it's just a good fit for me to be in a little venue where I can help teach a business how to scale."
Yeah.
And getting on that, it's really what I enjoy. I love the Lego thing,
Yeah.
but I geek out on the business.
Yeah.
When I can look at the business, look at the numbers, and look at the potential, it's scary what can be done if it's done well. And
Yes.
it's math. It's just a basic formula. And if you follow it,
You're gonna
it
get
would be
results.
so easy. It would be so
Yeah.
easy to
Yeah.
just knock the lid off of this and on a local level.
Well, it sounds like they needed you there. You know what I mean? As far as, what's
Not
everything
really.
they
Not
well,
really, because when you've got those kind of deep pockets, it
well,
doesn't matter what you do
yeah.
because it's like, and that's what we're finding with corporate is that
Yeah.
they've always been bailed out. So it doesn't matter what they do.
Yeah.
They don't have any natural consequences.
Right. Well,
So,
they
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I would say they needed you there if they actually want to be successful
mhm,
in business.
mhm,
Is what you know what I mean?
right,
If they want
right,
it to be run where it's profitable and they
mhm,
don't have to worry about, the other stuff. That's kind of what your mindset going in there because you saw like, I know these things, I can help them and we can make this even better than.
Mhm.
when you found it. You know what I mean? Did they approach you, or did you say, "Hey, I want to work here. Are you guys hiring?"
They had an ad on LinkedIn, and I saw it like 4 different places, and I'm like, "Okay, if I've seen it at 4 different places," and I was just kind
Yeah.
of I wasn't doing much of anything at all. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Eh, this should be fun."
Yeah.
You
Let's
know?
try this. Yeah.
Well, and it's, get me back into the business side of it and let me geek out on it quite a bit. So I was really excited about scaling.
Yeah. We must have just missed each other because I've been in this part of Idaho for like 2 years, and before that I was up in like Coeur d'Alene up there, Sandpoint area and stuff, and so we
Mhm.
came down here, and so my only interaction with that store is Joe and Erica. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So you must have just left right when we started coming
Yeah.
in, and unbeknownst to me. And they told me the same thing. I heard the story, about the brother Devin and things like that and why they opened the store. And I'm like, oh, this is a family run place and this is a good vibe
Mhm.
in here. And I felt the same way. I'm like, every time I came there, I'm like, okay, let's buy, sell, trade, let's do this.
Mhm.
Get as many minifigs as I could and keep it going. It wasn't until this whole thing happened. And I'm like, and then when you know them personally, we never hung out, we never hung out socially, Joe and Eric and I, but I've been in there enough times where, it was like a regular thing and they knew me and we've done
Mm.
business together and things like that. And then to find out all this, it's just
Yeah.
mind blowing. It's mind blowing and it
Mm.
feels crazy. They didn't, obviously they're not going to tell me
No.
all that information, but you
No, no,
kind of,
no.
you feel a certain way when you meet people and you feel like they're a certain
Yep.
way or genuine, and then you feel a little. I felt a little betrayed. I felt like my
Mhm.
whole, you know what I mean? And so, yeah,
Your whole world gets shattered by
it,
just a couple of things.
yeah, it's crazy.
Mhm.
It's crazy. And so how, let me know a little bit more. So, you had all these ideas and things going in and you're like, I can do this. This is how we can make this place run amazingly. And yeah, I know we talked before a little bit and you just kept you just kept hitting a wall on that.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about that.
So, whenever I go into a project like this, I go in, I deal with their training and figure out what they're doing and really listen for the first few months to figure out where they are so we can move forward because I don't want to go in there with a big baseball bat and change things if I don't know what I'm talking about. So the whole
Right.
Lego thing is beyond my scope. I wanted to learn that. I wanted to learn the ins and outs of what they were doing and then how I could add to that. So, after first few couple months, during that few months, I'd come up with a plan. And I mean, everything from business plan, marketing plan, we need an employee manual. They had started an employee manual. It was egregious, huge, and not clear. So you couldn't just pick it up and train somebody off of it. And then some of
Okay.
it was wrong. So fine tune that. We got that hammered out. It was still lengthy, but it was a great start. And then start going into, okay, we're telling the planet we only want to make this much money because we only have this much on the shelf. So in order to get this much in revenue, we have to put this much on the shelf. And so rearranging some of those VU sets to have a higher price point in key display areas. So you just move your stuff around so that it showcases those items before your $3 and $4 items. So when you increase your dollar per square foot, you're obviously going to make more.
Right.
And it's those adjustments that were first made. When you get the amount of inventory on the shelf that needs to be on there to sustain sales, then it just kind of increases naturally in a very polite way, and you don't have to
Okay.
work very hard at it. I mean, some of this stuff is super easy.
Yeah.
It's a pretty amazing how super easy it is. But I came up with a plan, marketing plan that was comprehensive, that actually had a budget that was involved because I called around and found prices, and they were only marketing in Facebook and they were boosting it sometimes, but that was it. We were losing customers year over year. Our number of customers were going down. And I said, okay, I can increase transaction and dollar per transaction, but this is where we're going to have an issue long term. We need to fix this. Well, where did you get those numbers? From the POS system, and it's math.
Right. Yeah. So
So
they, yeah.
it's like, it's a baby cow looking at a new gate. And when you go into this, they don't have any retail experience, they don't have any management experience. So yeah, I can help with that. That's easy. But then when you trickle in with, we've been here longer than you and we're in charge or not. We're not here to make more money. We're here to just give Devin a job or give us a job or whatever. Why am I here?
Yeah.
But then I'm attached and I can still help. So it's like you get attached to the community, you get attached to the team, you get attached to Devin. Devin was not working in the store for a long time because of COVID.
No, okay, yeah.
And then he was working quite a bit in the store for me, quite a bit. And he would, if I put out on the team email, hey, or the team text message, hey, I need some help. So and so's sick. Can somebody come in and help me with the register? He would actually, I'm getting a ride. I'm going to be there above and beyond. I mean, he was just amazing.
Yeah.
I, my separation happened. He actually quit.
Wow.
Devin
Yeah.
didn't work in his own store.
After you left.
I don't know if he's back,
Yeah.
but there was a period of time where he quit.
Wow. Well, I know that I've never met him, or all the times that we've gone into the store, I've never seen him or met him. So I'm
Hmm.
assuming he's, I wasn't there every day because, the distance wise, but I know they talked about him and stuff and told me the story, but I've never seen him in the store.
Right.
So I'm thinking
Because
he's,
it's a great
yeah,
story and it
yeah,
makes you feel good and want to come back.
yeah,
Devin's a great human. He is a great human. I absolutely like him. It's just he's aces. And I enjoyed working for him because that was
yeah,
my whole deal. Devin, I work for you. This is your store.
yeah.
How are you doing today, sir?
What do you,
Kind of thing. And it was like,
yeah,
glad to be here working for you. It was just kind of a and I don't know that he had that reality perspective before, but
yeah,
I appreciated him as a human. And I think that's really why he wanted to be there is because, I was so positive to him all the time.
yeah.
So it
He
was,
really liked, he liked
yeah.
working with you. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I know, Um, as we talked about it before, and I know he was like super into Lego, but specifically like Bionicle and stuff like that. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
No,
so he's the Bionicle
he,
expert. Yeah, if I
yeah,
ever
be
heard of one.
above
Yeah,
and beyond. Like he would, and
yeah,
I would make fun of it,
hmm,
because I have no Bionicle experience. So I
hmm,
would like Toa, leave it right there, just,
yeah,
and it was, and he would like, no, that's not what it is. But we organized a sale where it was like an entire weekend and come and meet the experts. And we set up
okay,
a table for Devin and he brought in some of his personal collection.
oh,
And it's amazing. It really is. And he knows the lore and he knows, yeah, he's the wisdom out of that man is impressive.
yeah,
It's really impressive. Yeah,
and
he's a great human.
I'm sure he enjoyed that, being able to talk about something that he loves,
Mhm.
to sharing
Mhm.
that with the community and things like that. So it's,
Yep.
yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
good. What was I gonna say? I
There's
had
so
another.
much.
Yeah, there's so much. There's so many
I know.
questions. Not. Oh, so you're also involved with the iLug, right? So are you very much
No,
involved with iLug?
I'm a member. I'm not active, and I'm a
Okay,
new member.
you're a new
So
member. Okay,
they meet at that Bricks and Minifigs.
yeah.
So respect the space, and I'm not going to go in there.
Oh, that's where they
That's where
meet.
that
That's like
group
headquarters.
meets.
And for those of
Right.
y'all that don't know, iLug stands for Idaho Lego Users Group. So it's a users group, Lego users group for Idaho, but other states have them as well. So, but
Hmm.
so okay, so they meet. So that's where they meet. So I could see how that might be a little
Yeah.
that might be a little
Yeah.
crazy for you. Yeah. Hello.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I live as a lug member vicariously through my friends.
I
So
gotcha.
it's like, I
I
kind of know what
gotcha.
they're going on, and I want to volunteer more, but I've got so much on my plate right now
Yeah,
that it's not in the cards. So,
I gotcha.
kind of, yeah.
Just hanging
And
on
then
and
I'm
seeing where it goes
well,
with
and
the
then doing
iLug
all this
group.
crazy
Yeah.
stuff. I never thought that
Yeah.
I would be, on a YouTube channel, let alone several.
You're
And
you're you're it right now. I mean, you are the
yeah,
one everybody wants to talk. You are super popular. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Everybody wants to talk to you. So you were sitting there going, "Yeah, what?
When you
Yeah,
when you come with receipts,
yeah, yeah."
you
Well,
know,
you have the experience, and then the receipts to back it up. That's powerful. So
yeah.
no, I mean, I certainly appreciate you sharing all this stuff and your experiences and stuff. And I'm sure a lot of other people do too, because before, like I said, before you were on the scene, nobody knew. Like it was kind of
Hmm.
not that the outrage or anger was displaced, because there's plenty of that to go around with all the different players in this thing, but there's things that were in the shadows that needed to be brought to light, and you were
Hmm.
definitely on the forefront of helping that. So I thank you. All the
Well,
eightfuls that I know,
oh,
thank
thank
you.
you.
You know,
Oh my gosh, you're way too kind. Way too kind. But here's my perspective is that it can't be fixed if we don't know. And if we all are kind of snowed into that or, lulled into sleep that we've changed the chairs and it's going to be fine and we're going to do A, B, and C and they've done so many press releases that they haven't backed up. They just keep saying, "Oh yeah, it'll get better Friday. It'll get better Friday. It'll get
Yep.
better." And it's just this. But then there's so many franchisees that are afraid to talk up
Yes.
because of the non-competes and because of all the stuff that they have to sign. But corporate leads from a very controlling,
Hmm.
and that's based on fear because they don't know how to run retail. They don't know how to run management. So they have to force you to stay.
Right.
But if you ran a great business, why would you need to be forced to stay?
Right.
If you had support, if you had tools and resource, if you were growing and it was healthy and everybody was making decent money and you were increasing your location, it wouldn't be a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah,
It's that
it'd be a
simple.
great partnership where
Mhm.
everybody want to be part of it, and it'd be like, okay, on to the next.
But when
Let's put another
everything
store
is
out there.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything's based on control. All control comes from fear.
Yeah.
And so when you understand that, you understand we're dealing with fragile egos and inexperience. And they're just running fast and loose. And with a company this size, you can't be doing that. It's a company this size with the potential it had. Not the potential it has anymore, but the
Yeah.
potential it had.
Yeah. That's
And
yes.
yeah, that's the key.
Well,
So yeah,
and
it's gonna be interesting.
Well, they're trying to have it both ways, in my opinion. Like
Mhm.
they're like, when you talk to some of the franchises and stuff, and I do believe a lot of them are afraid, and I
Mhm.
rightfully so because they see BAM Corporate suing everybody. Like they
Mhm.
put a statement out a couple weeks ago that we're rededicated. And this was on BAM's website. We're
Uh-huh.
rededicated to making Brian Mansell whole and to figure out this thing, and we're going to do
Right.
it together. Come to the table, but
They're still suing him.
behind the scenes suing this dude for $1.3 million. So it's like
Yep.
those are opposite things you're doing there. So it doesn't make any sense. And a lot of the franchises do. This is their thing. This is their retirement. This is their savings. This is their house. It's all tied into this. So there is
Mhm.
fear. Um, and I understand why they're not speaking up. And at the same time, if this goes down, and in my opinion, I mean, this name is most likely not salvageable,
Mm-mm.
that's what I'm thinking. It's gone.
No,
And so
it's not.
you're gonna go down anyway, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
As far as that. So what, are you gonna maybe try to stand together? Because there is that union that they put together, and it's now because of the numbers, I think it's over half. I think it's over half of all the
Mhm.
franchises are like, this
Yep.
sucks. What do we let's fight this. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And so if they were given tools and resources, if they
Yeah.
understood and I've heard YouTubers say that their margins from their vendor and I don't know what their margins are from the vendors, but their margins from the vendors aren't all that great. And so,
Yeah.
but they and then the list of vendors to when you start a business and it's a small business, it's really hard to source your products. You have to go reach out and go, okay, what's your wholesale, policy and how much of a discount can I get and whatever.
Hmm.
But when a franchise goes in and says I have 100 stores on deck, or 100 stores currently and I've got 100 stores on deck, what can you give us as a collective?
Yeah.
I don't know that that was done. I don't know, listening to what, YouTube has said about what their margins are.
Yeah.
I don't know if those negotiations were done.
Yeah.
Because at some point, if I came to you and said, hey, I've got 100 stores and we want to put you forefront in these stores.
Mhm.
We're going to issue a magazine to our stores every month and it's going to promote your products. So it's actually in their hands, each franchise, so they can see your products. It's in their face every month. How much would our margins be? Let's talk that. And if we have to work up to those margins, so say every 50 stores, our margins get better. And that shares it for the whole collective. They make more money, our franchises make more money, the franchise itself makes more money, and then, it just gets better and better from there. But if you don't have those
Mhm.
talks or those skills or those resources or those it's sales. It's definitely sales. And if you don't have those sales skills, you can't go to
Yeah.
these vendors and say, "Hey, this is my deal and this
Eh,
is why.
you
And this
can't
is
yeah.
what I promise."
Yeah, you can't negotiate. You're not
Mm-mm.
really good at negotiating with
Mm-mm.
them if
No.
you don't have
No,
that
no, no.
skill set. And I think a lot of this coming back to Lego, and I think we touched upon this when we previously talked, was that Lego now supplies Bricks and Minifigs. supposedly. I don't know. Like
Yeah, I'm not
they supply
sure
them. I
how
know, I
deep
mean,
that is.
I know, yeah, they supply them with the wholesale account, and they used to have another vendor before that, and now Lego's doing it, but it's not sending the Lego to each individual franchise. It doesn't have a deal with them. It just has a deal with
Mhm.
corporate to send them X amount of product, and then corporate right before the beginning of the month supposedly ships that out to all the 200 something or almost 300 stores,
Right.
which is logistically insane to me. I don't know. You'd have to have like a big operation, a big warehouse, it going to all these
Right.
places, and how much product does each store get depending on sales. It's a lot of logistics that goes into that. And so,
Well, and on my side, it's the capital involved,
yeah,
the people involved, it's the training involved. And if you can't train your franchisees, how are you going to train a warehouse that's going to run smooth?
yeah,
How are you going to get these products to the franchisees before the date it drops? Because
right.
all of the AFOs want to be in the store at midnight the night it opens.
Exactly. Or
And
you're
if you're not having these midnight parties, if you're not having these events where you can actually, do fun things and, we're going to Star Wars is dropping the like a big whatever and you have a midnight party and
yeah,
everybody cosplays and you don't have those events. What's the point? Because you can't get it on time? But
exactly.
the sheer undertaking, the logistics is one thing, but when you look at how much it's going to cost, warehouse, forklift, manpower, sheer
Right.
manpower, the sheer volume of Lego that has to go into those stores immediately has to be pallets, truckloads. So you have to bring those truckloads off the truck, you have to sort them out. And I've done high volume retail and it's work, physical work to
Yeah.
get that stuff off the truck, sorted, and then to the floor and then to the stores or whatever that looks like. And those
Yeah.
boys at warehouses, they are really underappreciated because
Yeah.
those guys work
Yeah.
hard, men and women both. But
Yeah.
it's the capital that would be required because that first order, you can't get your franchisees to pony up for that.
Right.
If it was me, because I don't know when I'm gonna get it. Is it gonna be June 1st drop? Is it gonna be July 1st drop? Is it gonna be November 1st drop? I mean,
Yeah.
we don't know when that's gonna be.
Yeah.
Logistically, there's not a lot of security there. And if they're not getting the margins they can get by going to Fred Meyer and buying it on sale and then with the senior discount on Tuesdays, you know, and
Exactly. Well,
you know,
and shipping, there's shipping costs with that too. So I don't know what the margins Lego is giving them, if that's a thing, but they also, it gets shipped to them, which I assume, I'm assuming they pay shipping to get it to them, and then they have to ship it out to each of these stores too. And shipping is super expensive. So it's
and
like,
here's the deal is
yeah,
is if your margin is 20%, you're losing that whole thing on shipping.
yes, that's what I'm saying. They're not making any money on
You're
that.
not even breaking even on your new inbox.
Or,
You're
or
not breaking even on your new inbox because your shipping margins, your shipping costs eats your margin. But you know
yeah,
what? They don't understand that.
yeah, yeah.
Or
It's
they may understand that, but they're told that they have to have so much on the shelf. So this is their only resource to buy it from.
Yeah, I gotcha. I mean,
So if you're locked into that and you're losing money every month, no wonder why you're not making a profit.
exactly. You're as soon as it hits the shelf,
And if this
you're
is
already in the hole.
well,
Yeah,
and if this is how corporate has you set up, cuss word you,
yeah,
because this is not okay.
yeah.
This
It's
if
not
the corporate is setting you up like this, and they know your margin's only 20%, they know that you're or 15 to 20%, and they know your shipping's gonna be, 20, $30 on a case,
yeah,
corporate is doing you a disservice at
yeah.
best.
I agree. And how much, you've been there obviously. So what percentage of the sales are from like new products or new release products? Is it's probably not as high as.
So, I don't wanna get into specific numbers on that store
Okay, I gotcha.
because I think that's where I would be not doing
Yeah.
well. I think
Okay.
that would kind of
No, I get you.
convolute. But from a management perspective,
Yeah. In general,
if
we can speak in
you're right. If it was
generalities.
me,
Yeah.
it would depend on your local needs.
Okay.
Okay. If you don't have a Lego corporate store, like a brick and mortar corporate Lego store, we
Right.
didn't have one for a long time.
Yeah.
Your new in box is going to come from Target, Walmart, Fred Meyer, Kroger, whatever it is.
Right.
And you're not going to have that connection. So if you have a local store that's family operated that may be supported by a franchise and you can get your new unbox there and you can create those relationships because really that is the basis of the whole AFOL community
Yeah.
is those relationships.
Yeah.
Anybody can go into Target and buy whatever's on sale, but the AFOL community wants more than that.
Yeah. We're
They
not we're not
want
we're not all at
yeah.
Target having a
Mm-mm.
party in the aisle. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. No, 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 no. They want the experience and the off factor and the connection that you get from those small mom and pop shops. And you can't fake that.
Yeah.
So if you give the AFOL community something like that and they can come together, have a cup of coffee or have a beverage or, and hang out and talk about, the 30 different colors of gray and do you have this shade of gray and I need some yellow macaroni because my
Yeah.
kiddo wants me to do a macaroni and cheese bowl or, whatever, you know, those connections and those shared events is what makes the AFOL community so tight knit.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go to your lug member groups, but if you don't have those other connections where you're meeting each other on a regular basis or you run into somebody at the store because it's a fun place to kind of hang out,
Yeah.
it's just not as fun. It could be so much better.
And I agree with that. And that's one of the things here. We don't have that corporate Lego store. You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
that the BAM was, we had another store and they closed down. It was a smaller store, about 30 miles away. But then we had, we have the BAM and that's where everybody
Mhm.
met. That's where everybody would go talk about the new releases that we're all
Mhm.
collectively excited about. We want to get them first or have them in our hands and just talk about them.
Mhm.
And that's the reason that with these corporate Lego stores that on release days, they have lines out the door. They have
Mhm.
lines out the door because everybody, the people are there wanting to be part
Okay.
of this and wanting to be part of something. So there are lines out the door and they have events and they have release parties, just,
Mhm.
like obviously, because that's where their business comes from. But the same thing could be happening and was happening at some of these bricks and minifigs. But now I haven't been. So I don't even know, I haven't been
But
on
if they
two
can't
release
get
days.
new
So
releases, if they
yeah,
can't get new releases, and they
yeah,
don't have a process for getting those before Target releases them early, before Walmart releases them early, before
yeah,
but if you have an event, I'm not going to buy it from Target and Walmart because they're a huge corporation. I'm going to go to my local Bricks and Minifigs
yeah,
and buy it because they have a midnight release party and we're going to have, goofy stuff going on and prizes and whatever.
yeah.
But, they
And my
don't
friends are
bring
my
that
friends are
connection.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, they
totally.
don't have that connection. But there's
No.
so much can be done if it's done well from a management perspective of being organized and you know what you're doing and you know what margins to look for and you know how to kind of guide that. But when we come back to the numbers and breaking it down by department, so you have your minifigs and you've got your new unbox and you've got your used and you've got your certified sets, it really is variant depending on the market. Because if you have a smaller community and you don't have a Lego store in your community, you have to really listen to what people want.
Right.
But then you're going to get things in from the community and you always want to buy from them. You always want to bring them in and they want to get rid of whatever set because they want to get the next set.
Mhm.
But you want to bring them in and you want to buy from them. But if you don't have the market to buy or to sell that, you're going to sit on that forever and that ties up money. And that's
Yeah.
really where I think a lot of people or a lot of owners get stuck is that they don't have an outlet for that.
Yeah.
But if you had an outlet for that
Yeah.
and how that works, and
Yeah.
there's ways to make that happen
Exactly.
and they're
Well,
not that hard.
and I think that's where maybe online comes in. You know what I mean? Because you're brought,
Mhm.
you have your local market and they like a certain thing, they come for a certain thing, but then you have your online and you're opening up
Mhm.
to the world and then like, right here in this part,
Mhm.
we don't not a lot of people want this, but there's definitely somebody in
Mhm.
Kentucky that wants it really bad and you just sell it right there.
Mhm.
And you help your store
Mhm.
and your business on the back end. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, but
yeah.
what if you could actually, and I call it co-opetition. So you're co-oping with your competition. What if you had a resource where you could come together and go, okay, I'm looking for A, B, and C, and you share each other's resources between you
Yeah.
and in a fiscally responsible manner.
Yeah.
That's fair for everybody, so that everybody makes money to get those resources and to have yet another resource to be able to get good quality stuff because again sourcing is key in this whole business.
You need to get what the people want.
Right,
That's
right,
that's
right. So every
that's
store is going to have very intimate numbers and vary on how much percentage wise they need to have on their sales floor.
yeah.
So it's you have to be able to manage those really very quickly. I mean, within the first few months, you have to
Yeah.
be listening, you have to be paying attention, you have to be watching your sales by SKU. You have to be, if minifigs are selling so much more, you have to be proactive on that. You can't be reactive.
Yeah.
You have to think about that stuff really pretty quickly and be on that pulse within seconds,
Yeah.
because then you know what to buy and you know how much to pay for it. And you have to be looking out. But if you don't know what to look out for,
Yeah.
you're just riding this wave exhausted.
Exactly. And you're just, yeah, kind of flapping in the
Mhm.
wind, not knowing, not
Right,
knowing
right,
what's
right.
going on. Does this
I'm
work? I
making
don't
money
know.
today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I can see that. And each individual store would be different because like I said, for here, there's no Lego store. So that's the Lego store. So they would benefit from having all the new releases and
Mhm.
making that a big
Right.
deal at release
Mhm.
day. But a place that has, like there, where you're at in Boise, they have the Lego store. So there's gonna be a divide. Some people are gonna go to the Lego, they're gonna still go to you,
Mhm.
but then they'll also go to the Lego store for the new release dates because they blow it out with their huge budget and do whatever they do on those days, like Star Wars days, and
Right.
it's a big deal, at the
But then
Lego store. So,
if you are losing your shorts on your new unbox, you're not
mhm.
going to be in business very long.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
that is a hard drama you have to face. So you have to increase your revenue in other places to make sure. And that's where it's like you're increasing your revenue per transaction
Yeah,
substantially. So you have to get people to spend more while they're there.
yeah,
And how do you do that without being dubious or, deceitful? I mean, it's like you can provide what customers want
right,
and they'll buy it. But if you
exactly.
don't have what they want, in that manner, you can increase sales by transaction. And that's kind of how you have to deal with that low margin. There's got to be a better way.
Yeah, I agree.
There's got to be a better way.
I agree. There's gotta be a better way. I agree with that. And I'm gonna switch gears just a little bit.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
back to the store. Okay, so have you and I'm going to be talking about Reed Brimhall.
Mhm.
How much interaction when you worked there did you have with Reed? Was it a fairly I mean, he wasn't ever in there like working in the store, right? Because he
No,
bought it for his
no.
kids and they're kind of running it, and
Mhm.
he just kind of came in and
Right.
here's a check, guys. See you later. See you
Shake
later.
hands, kiss
Yeah,
babies. If it was an hour a week, I'd be surprised.
I
And it
gotcha.
wasn't one-on-one. It was come in, do what he needed to do, wave. He never had anything negative. He was never yeah, he was very positive and things are great and, good job, but less than probably an hour a week.
I gotcha. Okay. Okay. And then walk me through, if you can, when, from being there to inevitably being let go, and what do you feel led up to that, and how that all transpired, and then how it.
And I can share my lived experience without giving
Yeah, too
numbers.
much. Yeah.
But when you break it down to the fundamentals and your manager with experience comes to you and says, "We have these serious problems. We're not doing any marketing." Corporate requires you to do between 3 and 7% of your annual revenue spent into marketing and advertising. And if you're not doing that because the rules don't apply to you, or it's too hard or, whatever the case may be, you're going to lose customers. And every day, I didn't know you were here. I'd seen the building, I didn't know what it was about. Every
Yeah.
day, and they'd been open for 10 years. So it's not like they had saturated the market. They needed to get out and advertise. Then, we had a sourcing inventory issue and I sold it all. I had no inventory left to sell.
So,
And when I said, we've got a real problem here and you've decreased purchases by 70% over the last 2 years.
yeah.
What do you expect me to sell?
Yeah.
And I started raising the flag probably second quarter of 2025 pretty hard.
Okay.
And I started, back at third quarter 2024
Hmm.
and 2025, I'm seeing how fast I'm selling through this stuff and they're not
Wow.
replenishing it.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is our problem.
Yeah.
And I can't sell air.
Yeah. You're like, I can sell it. Can you just give it to
Yeah,
me? Yeah.
a devil dog dare you to, I could sell, ice to an Eskimo, but I mean, at some point it's like, I got nothing left to sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have absolutely nothing left to sell.
And since it was selling at a good rate,
Revenue was good.
what was their answer to not replenishing it? at a, at a
So
productive volume.
when you're going up and up in a decent pace,
Yeah.
it's you've been consistent, increasing revenue, there's no problem. But I'm proactive. I'm
Yeah.
seeing the trend and I'm going,
Yeah.
we can't make these decisions when we're out of inventory. We have to make these decisions now. And I've been
Yeah.
out of inventory.
Yeah.
Basically, well, too bad.
So were they still expecting those numbers having a lower inventory, or are they just like,
Yeah.
we'll
Oh
see?
yeah.
Well, I don't
But
know
then
what's wrong.
it
I
was
don't know
like,
what's wrong with our sales here, but we
right.
we have
We
nothing
never
to
got to that
sell.
point. Yeah, we never got to that point where it
Yeah.
was dropping off.
Yeah.
But I was pretty vocal about,
Yeah.
we've got some real problems.
Yeah.
We have an incredibly high turnover. I mean, 100% turnover. And that's unheard of in retail.
Yeah.
When you pay people what you do, you can't keep them.
Yeah.
Cannot keep them. And it's not okay.
Yeah.
Again, it comes down to the fundamentals. You cannot do wages below market value and expect to keep it. But
Exactly.
to them, it was not a big deal because you know what? This was for their kids. And, it
Yeah.
didn't matter.
Yeah, no, but I mean, and here too in Idaho, our like the minimum wage is already low, like compared to somewhere like
Yeah.
California. You know what I mean? Like in California, there,
Mhm.
you can bag groceries and you're making like 21 bucks an hour. You know what I mean? Of course, the
Right.
cost of living is more, but it's crazy. But if you do have a good thing going, you do want to take care of your people. You know what I mean? As far as, payment,
Hmm.
making sure they can survive while they're giving you, their time
Right.
and all that stuff. So yeah, so I got it. So how many employees like regularly did you guys have that were not besides yourself and that were not like family members and stuff like
There was a handful. I mean, I think at one point we had like up to 6 extra people.
I got
I
you.
mean, I could be here or there, but I mean, it was not a lot. It's not a very big store.
Yeah.
We're, 11 a.m. to, 7 p.m., closed on Sunday. So there really wasn't a lot of coverage needed.
Yeah.
You have 2 people in the store at any given time, on your sales days or your Saturdays, and you have more people. And yeah, that was kind of a luxury for me because I was able to schedule quite a few people. But we had birthday parties on the weekends, and we had all sorts of crazy stuff going on. So it
Yeah.
was necessary. But about 6 people. But if I needed a family member or if I needed a friend of the family, people were willing to come in and put on an apron and make stuff happen. It was really kind of a nice deal.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
So yeah.
So they pitched in. I Getting back to what you said about the advertising, honestly, I didn't know about that store. Like I used to live in Oregon, so I lived on the
Hmm.
other side. I was 3 hours on the other side of Boise.
Hmm.
And I'd go to the Lego store, or I'd go to the store Bricknology out there in Eagle. And
Hmm.
I didn't even know there was a BAM like the first 30 times I'd visit. Is that insane? And then I'm like, wait a minute. We were driving by. I'm like, what is that place? And I always say
Hmm.
it looks like the Power Rangers headquarters. I said that in one of my videos, but that's what it looked like.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's Power Rangers, but I think it's an old bank building, right? It's like the old
It
bank.
was. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
and so it's a unique building. It's different than the other stores that are in like a strip or something like
Mhm.
that. They just have that thing. And I was like, wait a minute. We were driving and I saw like a big Lloyd from Ninjago in the window. I'm like, that's a
Mhm.
Lego store? And then I pulled in and
Yep.
that was my first time. But literally 20, 30 times of coming to
Mhm.
Boise, I never saw or heard of the store. And
Well, and
so,
that's a problem if you don't have corporate helping you in these aspects because there's moms groups, there's schools, there's so many ways to advertise that aren't very expensive.
yeah,
And then just getting out there in the community and then you make connections with other businesses. I'll give your customers discounts. I'll
yeah,
give your customers coupon. You give a coupon to every one of your customers for my store, and I'm going to give a coupon to every one of my customers for your store. And you involve. There's so many small businesses that do resell kids' clothing and resell. It's too easy.
yeah. It's
It's
and there's
too easy to make friends.
And there's classes too, like STEM and groups like that you guys
Mm-hmm.
could do there that's besides parties and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these groups, STEM included, that use Lego in their, curriculum,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. And there's all these things, different community members, like you're saying, all these different groups that could constantly be coming there,
Well,
coming there and hanging
and
out and advertising
in
for you.
right.
Yeah.
Well, in this community, we have such a giant homeschooling community.
Yeah.
You bring it. I'm going to teach your kids a legit STEM activity. We're going to talk about velocity. We're going to talk about, whatever it's a actual structured curriculum.
Yeah.
that works for them and follows their grade level specific, and it gets to count. It's not just
Yeah.
play, whatever. But then you also can have those play dates where you can get these kids in socializing, especially in the wintertime. What are they going to do? You can't go to the parks in the wintertime. Well, you can
Exactly.
kind of here, but I mean,
Yeah.
give them another resource in the
We're
community
frozen.
where they can be positively infused in a direction that they can take a skill with them for long term.
Yeah.
Lego is such an educational opportunity.
Yeah.
And even naturally without curriculum, you learn so much. And and you can do so much. It just makes it such an easy tool to bring into the education, world of it.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, just the building aspect, engineering aspect,
Hmm.
and then you add
Stop
robotics to
motion,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Stop motion
robotics.
animation, robotics.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's so many things you can do with it, and it's
Hmm.
so I'm like, "These little plastic bricks bring me so much joy," but they
I know.
yeah, it's
I
crazy.
know.
Yeah, it's crazy what you can do with it, so, I mean, that's why a lot of people love it. Okay, we're getting we're getting to
The
you
hard
being
questions.
let go. Not really hard question. Well, I did have another question, and I don't know if you can answer this or not. I have heard from multiple a lot of them are closed franchises, but with these patterns and stuff, I had heard have you heard of The Last Relic? Have you seen any of his
Yeah.
videos? Yeah, okay, so he was in Florida, and
Hmm.
he said that in his store, even out there in Florida, that any set that they got in that was over $1,500, they'd have to ship it out because they watch the POS system and it's all the same for all the stores, right? They see your inventory and stuff like that. He'd have to anything he got on a trade that was over 1,500, he'd have to ship it to the Eugene store that was owned by Josh at the time. Did you guys ever get any shipments like
Okay.
that, or are you
And I can kind of talk in
I don't know if you can
briefly
answer
about
that at
this.
this time, and that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I want to know is where'd the money go that he had to pay for that?
Yeah. Because for me,
He
I was
paid for
like,
that. And I
that
want to know
yeah,
how he got reimbursed for that.
that's what I wanna know, and I don't think he
And then
did. It's
you
crazy.
can't have, they want you to have these big displays from the community. If you can't have big, cool, and unusual Lego, what's the draw?
That's what I was saying. It's like if I have a store and then I get this
Hmm.
cool trade and it's like amazing, and
Hmm.
everybody's like gonna go gaga over it. I'm gonna wanna put that in my store. We got this trade in, it's all over your advertising. Why would I even think about sending that
But
away,
it
you
begs the
know?
question, what is the purpose of BAM franchising? They're not supporting him.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't know what his margin on was that item was, but it was better than his margin on new in box.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they took that away from him.
Yeah.
If that's the facts. I don't know
Right.
him. I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
seen the deal. I haven't seen paperwork. But if those are the facts,
Yeah.
then capital cuss word you,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
corporate,
I
because
mean,
I
it's
mean,
just
you are doing nothing but a disservice to you should
exactly.
be you should be sourcing that stuff for your franchises
Right.
because a lot of the franchises don't have the money. Okay. Whoppy Bricks.
Yeah.
Whoppy Bricks can buy hundreds of thousands of dollars. They do amazing.
Yeah, they do really well.
But if
They
your
do really
corporate,
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
if your corporate was doing that for you and you had a list of things that you could buy
Mhm.
and cherry pick from, because corporate had a warehouse with all this stuff and you could buy it at a rate where you could make money off of it.
Right. And
Corporates made money off of it. You can make money off of it. Everybody wins.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your store would be doing amazing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, it
Hmm.
seems like from the
This would,
franchisees that I've talked to, especially the ones that were shut down in this thing, and that's where the pattern of franchise churning comes in
hmm.
because from what I've seen, the evidence that I've seen and talking to these people and hearing their stories and stuff, it seems like their business model is they're not in the Lego business. That's what I've told people. And that's what I've said on my videos. You are not in the Lego business. You're in the franchise selling, hostile takeover, repossession, and reselling business. That's what I've seen.
Hmm.
That's where the gross
Yeah.
majority of this is coming from. Because, like I said, I know people personally, even here, that own franchises, and they're struggling. I mean, they are not getting support, and with this thing on top of that, this whole
Hmm.
thing that's happened, I feel
Right.
so bad. I mean, yeah, that's why where I'm
Well,
like, sue
and they
them,
don't
come
even have a,
together.
yeah, no,
Yes.
if they had a consultant that could go from store to store, they could go, okay, let's narrow down your P&L. Let's narrow down what you're selling. Let's narrow down and fine tune this stuff so you're making a profit, because I cannot have you taking a tank and failing, because I don't want you to fail, because then I have to report that on my FFDs.
Hmm.
Okay. But if I support you and I have somebody that's willing to go into these stores and do tools and resources, then that changes the ball game altogether. And it costs you a lot less money instead of having somebody go store to store for compliance.
Yep. Well, that's their MO. They have that's what I've heard. They have the team that goes in
That happened to me twice.
and takes your
That
store.
happened to me
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
Corporate came in, super nice kid, knocked it out of the park. We didn't have an issue one. There was a couple things that we needed to fix, but the pressure of it being Reed's store and being a corporate store and having to set the example was kind of a big deal for me. And I
Yeah.
made that a huge priority because I did not want him to look dumb at his own store.
Yeah.
And granted, that was a lot of self-inflicted pressure, but if he doesn't look good, I don't look good.
Yeah.
And if I don't make his store look good, that's my whole job. My whole job is to make sure that he sets an example for the other franchisees. And I wasn't going to let that slip.
Yeah.
So corporate showed up for compliance and we knocked it out of the park. And it was a great event but that's not what happens in other stores.
Regularly. And I didn't know until this whole thing. I didn't even know because I talked to Joe and Erica and I know them and
Hmm.
from the many interactions. I didn't know there was a corporate store. You know what I mean? I just thought it's a family store like everybody else, you know what I mean? And so I was like, "What?" And then
Yeah.
so getting to the
It's,
like the numbers thing and
it's convenient when it's a corporate store
yeah,
because now it's not a corporate store.
yeah, I
Because
got you.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a convenient title when they want it to be a convenient
I
title.
gotcha. Pull it out when
Yeah, yeah.
applicable.
But we'll
Yeah.
put it back. We're gonna put it back right now.
Yeah. I don't and then with him, I mean, as far as compliance goes, say, and I'm not gonna say allegedly, but it looks like to me that Reed is the majority holder of Bricks and
Hmm.
Minifigs, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
someone coming in from corporate to make sure he's in compliance, is that kind of like the joke? You know what I'm saying? As far as like, I don't
On
know
one,
like how it runs. Is
okay,
he more like hands off or he kind of was
Reed.
he
Yeah,
letting
no, this
yeah.
was all self inflicted. I have a very high standard for myself
Yes, I gotcha.
and what I do,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
there's a period of time, and I know somebody else that managed that store before me, but there's periods of time where what, Dad's paying for our job. Who cares?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I gotcha. So they had no motivation
No,
to be profitable or
no,
to grow, basically.
no.
Yeah. Because if you
But if
always yeah,
that's Reed's store and there's
yeah,
no motivation to grow, why would you think that the motivation to get the franchisees to grow would be there?
that's yeah. I mean, that makes sense. And
It's
that's
very on brand and it's very consistent.
yeah, yeah. And a lot of these people, I mean, they buy into it because it's
Mhm.
they say it's a trusted name for 15 years. And even when this
Mhm.
was happening, and I want to say is because I follow a few of them. And I was getting emails from them, and it's like even in their new branding, it's like, "Come shop with us, a trusted name for 15 years." I'm like, "You need to change that terminology." I'm like, "That is not
Well,
helping you. Don't turn the comments
yeah, no.
on,
But if
please."
corporate
Yeah,
requires you to put that on there
yeah,
because that's the agenda they want to set,
yeah, yeah,
because if you shout it loud enough and often enough, you get to change history.
yeah. I get you.
But
I
this
mean,
community is not letting it go.
no, the internet's
This
not
is like,
letting down.
yeah,
They're
no,
not. They're
this is
not
a dog with a
forgetting.
bone. It's
Yes.
pretty nice. It's
It's
pretty
crazy.
nice.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're like, "For real?" Yeah, it's
Yeah.
anytime I mean, I've been through tons of Facebook groups and any news story doesn't matter. They turn the comments on. My goodness,
Oh, it's all over.
it's crazy. It's just like I'm
Hmm.
like, probably don't turn those on yet. You know what I mean? So,
No, 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 no. And
yeah.
it's funny to find out how much the family's watching the comments
Oh,
because
yeah.
they're hardcore watching what I'm doing,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is putting my butt out there.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to avoid anything that is specific
Yeah, I gotcha.
or bashing, but I can tell my lived experience in addition to the fact that I want to be the beginning for the ant bully phase.
Yeah.
And I think if we get enough people to stand up and go, this is not acceptable. And now the franchisees have support because they've got somebody in their back pocket or a bunch of people in their back pocket where they can go, okay, we can get all of these tools and resources, or we can find all these tools and resources on our own, but we don't have the confidence to do it because we've been told that BAM's going to sue us.
Yeah,
But
I
if
mean,
we have over half of the franchisees going, I will make a stand on this day.
yeah.
We have these tools in place. They can't sue us all.
That's what I'm telling people. They can't sue them all. And, I'm not a legal expert or anything, but I was like, what if I so want to talk to like every franchise all at the same time. I'm like,
Well, no.
everybody
But
come in. Yeah.
what if there was an attorney that could go, yeah, they can't sue us all.
Yeah.
Let's get a group of attorneys together,
Yes. Call us.
look at this
Yeah.
and go,
Yeah.
okay. And if you keep these attorneys on long term, and as a franchisor, and you just pay them, quarterly or monthly or whatever, to just kind of check on the non-competes and whether or not we should actually be having minors sign non-competes, because minors can't sign contracts.
Right. Under
Okay.
18. Right.
Having an HR program that actually works for each of the franchisees, having an
Mhm.
operations manager or manual for each of the franchisees, making sure that they're compliant with their state and federal regulations when it comes to choking hazards and safety signs and restroom signs. And if you had this, they would even make money long term too.
Yeah.
So it would be their benefit. There would be their benefit long term
Yeah.
to initially get into this group of franchisees, and however they're going to organize,
Yeah.
and create this conglomerate that can go, okay, no more, no more, we're done.
Yeah.
Because if enough of them go out, or they're going to lose their business in their house. I mean,
Well,
it comes down to that.
and that's
They've got no other way to go.
I agree, and I saw one today. I don't know if it was a Maryland store, but stores keep closing. They just keep folding. You know what I mean? They
See,
just
and I
keep.
haven't seen that. I
I saw
haven't
one
witnessed that.
today, and I was like, I want to reach out to them. I'm like, okay, what happened? But it's like if it's going down anyway, like, and I like that's what I was saying. I'm not a legal expert, but I'm like, what if everybody, all you guys together, just stop paying the franchise fees, stop paying your fees, stop all together, say we're done. We're done, and no new I
So,
can't
well,
imagine
and
that there's
so,
new franchises coming on or
yeah.
people wanting to sign
Oh,
up right
those poor
now.
people.
Yeah,
Those poor people. You can't tell me if the ship's going down, you'd want to save your own. You want to save your own lifeboat.
right.
Absolutely.
Of course.
There's no, in my opinion, there's no saving this.
Yeah.
This is going down whether we want to or not. It's a matter of coming up with the solutions for the franchisees.
Exactly. And I think that first them unionizing is the first step. Them even talking about it and being like, okay, we can see the writing on the wall. We see it's going down. What are we going to do about it and try to
Hmm.
save it before we go down with the ship? You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
that's exactly
Right.
because
Because
yeah,
this could be, there's stores, in my opinion, if you're operating one of these bricks and minifig type stores, open up your own store. If you're given the right tools and resources, the right vendors, the right POS, the right margins, the right sourcing of fixtures at a fair price, as franchisor, we can get 500 of this one item
yeah,
stored in our warehouse and ship it out to the store
yeah.
when they need one.
As needed. Yeah, it's like a blueprint. You're making a blueprint for success, basically. Like
Right. But
instead of being out there, because a lot of them signed up for the name, and that
mhm,
name, it's crap now. You know what I mean? It's like, so you don't got the name anymore. The name is synonymous with bad things. So where do
no,
we
but
go from here? Yeah,
if you had a name that was that kind of went to healing the community,
yeah, yeah.
and that was to open up nationwide, I mean, there's an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a real opportunity.
Yes, but yeah, they need a life they need a life preserver basically they need something because a lot of them are too scared to talk, but I think that number as it continues to go and like I said, I saw that Maryland store closed, but I have to get the numbers on how many stores have actually closed since this started. But the more that continues to happen and they see it, falling like dominoes and
Mm-hmm.
obviously BAM corporate is not coming in to save anybody. They're not coming in and saying they could, easily been like, our bad. Whoa, this is crazy. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you going down. But they're doubling down on all this stuff and they're like letting the franchises burn. And by at the same time telling them, let them know we're a trusted brand. And you know what I mean? They're just
Right.
sitting there freaking out. And so, they
But if you
need,
change the narrative and you yell it
yeah,
loud enough on Fox News,
exactly. Yeah.
then Yeah.
then you find out that there was indeed a U-Haul when you said there wasn't. So that's what
There
happens
was
on
somebody
Fox.
I
Yeah, it's
watched,
crazy.
I watched
Yeah,
there's somebody that put out a lie counter
yeah,
and came up with, like, over 100 in, like, 3 seconds. It was nuts.
yeah,
Absolutely nuts. And if you have no integrity anymore,
yeah,
but this comes down to management.
yeah,
They don't have a PR firm. They don't have a
yeah.
PR goal. They don't have a PR standard.
I was like, speaking of PR, I'm like, when this first started happening, I saw him doing like the live streams or he's doing the interviews or the Fox ones, Ammon specifically. That's what I was talking about. I was like, this guy does not have PR. He's using Chat GPT. He does. This guy
Yep.
does not have a PR department because it's just like you're doing
Yeah.
exactly. It's sometimes just better not to talk. Like just be quiet. Don't do the interviews.
Right.
Like
Right.
especially when you're involved
Mhm.
in what they're doing. Man, it's crazy.
Well, let's take it kind of a step further. You run panic management and you have a store that's might close or need to change hands and you have to find a new franchisee to fill that store quickly. Okay? You don't want your FFDs to look bad, so you have a company come in that, may or may not be franchise employees that
Hmm.
start this company,
Yeah.
go over, get it all up and running, and you've got somebody that checks up on it on a regular basis. But you have local people run it, they're managing it. It's really not that difficult to open the door, put the register money in and that type of thing. But when you have that foundation set and you're not very liquid, being confronted with, I have to find a new franchisee to cover this. I'm potentially not going to get anything out of this except for the local inventory, but I don't have enough money to pay for that consignment. So I don't know. I've seen the P&Ls, I've seen the balance sheet, I've seen, I'm just speculating, and
Yeah.
this is my opinion. But when you
Yeah.
have a company that has that type of cash flow, if they don't have the money and their payroll is 40% of what they bring in or more,
Mhm.
they're looking at their personal pockets.
Yeah.
This 150,000, $200,000, I don't know what the actual number is, but the
Right.
Legos, it would have been a dent. It wouldn't have been a big dent, but it was enough of a dent where I think they panicked. And if they weren't liquid enough to pay it there, how hard are they going to do if they're a dog backed into a corner
Yeah.
to save face? We're not going to pay you. It's your fault. What are you willing to say to get out of paying some money somewhere?
Exactly. Exactly.
Because
And
if it was an actual business owner and you had a consignment deal like that, there should have been insurance on it.
right.
So your insurance agent should have known, and he should have had the policy. And if it disappears, there should have been a payout. As a local store owner, I would have made sure that that happened. But if the local store owners don't know that that's an option, they don't have a nationwide carrier that deals with this stuff specifically. They don't have that tool and resource. They can't get it at a fair price. They don't know it exists. How can you protect your customers when you do this? And yeah, I would be consignments all day long because that is one way you can get incredible mocks. You can get incredible, expensive
Yeah.
in a lot of businesses because they're not profitable. They can't afford to come out with $1,500 out of pocket to get these incredible deals. So
Right.
the fact that he showed up and she was willing to do consignment is amazing, and I would support that all day long. But you have to have the insurance in place, and you have to have the backing that if something goes wrong, corporate's got to be able to have your back in a way that there's nothing you can do that I can't fix.
Yeah.
So if I need to come up with the money to bail you out, I can do that. You're going to owe me and we're going to charge you whatever interest it is, but it's not
Right.
going to be stupid interest because
Right.
we're going to drag it out a while. But I would protect the brand that far
Yeah.
because there's nothing you should be able to do local level that would blemish the brand.
Right. And
No
you're
matter how bad you screwed that up, what you did, whatever happened. And as a CFO, he can't run calm, cool, and collected. And I don't know what his motive is behind it,
mhm.
whether it's fiscal responsibility, whether it's fragile ego, whether it looks like a lot of things. I don't know what the truth is. And I can only speculate. But in my opinion and in my experience, this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So if he didn't have the money to pay it, well, it's not that much, and we're not going to give you an inventory. And we tried to give the Mansell family money, but we're still suing them for
Yeah.
$1.3 million. How dare you?
Yeah. It's
What the hell is wrong with you?
it's ludicrous. I can't get behind that. And also that
Imagine
amount
what's going to happen if they come sue me.
yeah, I don't know. I'm looking
Could
every
you
day.
could you imagine?
I'm looking every day too. I'm all these everybody's getting all these, alerts on YouTube, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at
Mhm.
my email. I'm like, if it says this, please text me because,
Right.
I'm
Right,
looking
right.
for it because I'm just trying to get to the truth. I'm just trying to, shine the light on
Right.
things to make it right as yourself. And
Right.
with that I mean, that's a big consignment to me though. 200,000, but I see how it benefits the store and the person selling it because you don't until it sells, no money needs to be exchanged. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you don't have to put up
Right.
you don't have to put up that big amount to buy the collection
Mhm.
and vice versa. They don't have to sell it at such a loss as far as the value of it. And so it kind of works for both
Mhm.
people. So
Right.
was that, to your knowledge, was that not insured at the time? It
I
was
don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah.
Playing, quarterback after the fact,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
In
I
hindsight.
don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know there's insurance companies out there that'll cover that.
Yeah.
And I know there's insurance companies out there that, cover your inventory.
Right. But
So
yeah, but you're
I'm gonna
saying,
have $300,000 worth of inventory. I need to bump up my insurance.
of course, and I mean,
But if you're not taught that,
yeah, but corporate should have that in place already. That's just
you think? You think?
standard operating procedure. If
Yep.
you have $1 million, you probably need some insurance. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? 500,000, whatever it may be. Yeah. So, and and that's where we're speculating that they came in and they saw the collection and they were like, you know what? We're kind of in a gray area here. That could be an acquired asset during this whole thing.
Mhm.
It's
Well, and
crazy.
here's the deal is if you bully somebody and you fed them so many things during your tenure
Yeah.
because, we're powerful, we sue people, you have to believe what
Yeah.
we tell you. And people never read the whole contract. So they
No.
don't know what's really there. I mean, you can't tell me that they paid an attorney $2,000 to look over those contracts. It's these people who have mortgaged their houses who just want to have a great place to be with their friends and to make some money and to, go into their retirement years and not
Yeah.
have to lose their shorts.
Exactly.
But you're going to lose your shorts if you don't have the proper foundation. And it
Right.
comes down to the fundamentals. And if your franchise can't take care of you,
Right. Yeah. That's the
it
thing.
becomes a real problem.
And I see that. And they're, for the love of Lego and everything. And they're like, I love Lego. I may not have opened a business before, but we can do this. And you feel like they sold you on, we're here. We got all that, anything that can come up, corporate's going to take care of you and we're good. And that's just not the case. I mean, even in the contracts they have where they can't sue, you know what I mean? It's arbitration. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so I don't know if they actually went line by line. They're like, wait a minute, if they do this, or they have like all these set of rules, if we do one thing wrong, they come in and take over my store and it's kind of like, like a car
Mhm.
repossession if you missed a payment or whatever. But I
Mhm.
from what I've seen, there's allegations of them actually, even in stores that were performing well, setting them up in a certain way so they could come take the store if they wanted to for any given reason. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It kind of, that's what that's what it's
It
looking
comes from
like.
that
Yeah.
fear-based
Yeah.
control tactic, and it's very telling of, from beginning to end, it's very on brand.
Yeah.
If you have
Yeah.
the freedom to do what you want in your own business
Yeah.
within boundaries, and it's a mutual bygones at some point, and you can't do that entirely because, there's branding and you have to untie those relationships. But if there's a way that if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah. You could just
You know, if
walk,
it's not
it's
good for you, it's not good for me. If it's not a
amicably
good
walk
fit, then
away.
why
Yeah.
worry about it? Because you
Yeah.
have a much better reputation in the community for, you know what, I tried this franchise and it didn't work out for me for
Yeah.
whatever reason, but they had grace and helped me out of it, or they had grace
Yeah.
and didn't screw me in the end, or, but it comes down to that not running panic management.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, their MO seems to be like, as soon as anybody even hints at like, hey, I'm gonna sell, or we're having this issue, or how do I do this? They send the team in, they do it, and they say, okay, we're taking it over, we're out. I don't care how profitable you are, what we owe you. And if you try to say anything at all, we're gonna sue the crap out of you and all your,
Right.
and they've already put their money, their life savings or their house or whatever it may be into it.
And
So
they have
they don't
nothing
have
left.
the money for attorneys
Mhm.
and legal proceedings can go on for years and that's super
Yeah.
expensive. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
that seems to be their thing. And they do have, with Legally Mine and all those other things, that's their MO as far as they've done this before in different ways. They have the experience as far as asset protection and suing people. I mean, that's just that's just what it looks like. And
But
so
if you had corporate with stopgaps, we're going to watch your financials, we're going to watch your sales, we're going to watch your even down to the weather because weather can change things dramatically.
yeah.
But there's stopgaps, and if you have these stopgaps, and corporate can come in and go, okay, we need to get you inventory in this sector because you've got Ninjago. You don't sell Ninjago. You sell
Hmm.
Star Wars. You don't sell Friends. But we can sell Friends here. But you need to focus on A, B, and C so you can be profitable and not like it's an I gotcha moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the support versus the I gotcha and screw you
Well,
because we don't know how to handle it any better.
they're waiting for you to mess up. It seems like they're just waiting for you, and they're like, "I got you," like you're saying. And when you said the weather, that's the thing with that I thought of with Relic. He went through a hurricane in Florida, and so his store got messed up. And then he's like, my store is damaged, and instead of coming in and saying, okay, let's help you with a different
Hmm.
location, let's get you some product you need to keep it going, they
Hmm.
just use that to be like he could control the weather. You know what I mean?
No,
And they
no,
came
but
in and
if you have the foundation of a franchise, I mean, okay, McDonald's. How did McDonald's fare? Who came and helped them? How did they get out of that? Granted, there's probably large insurance policies that paid out because there are loss of income policies that pay out on just this occasion. So, corporate should have said, okay, you need this. You live in a hurricane. My brother lives in Tampa. If you live in a hurricane zone, you're gonna need flood insurance. You're
yeah,
gonna need these
hurricane
things.
insurance, yeah,
But
wind
it comes
insurance or
down
whatever.
to
Yeah.
respond or react. And if you're responding or reacting, it's one thing, but being proactive or reactive changes the perspective altogether. Because if you could have prevented this for your franchisee, I mean, you haven't built trust with your franchisee.
Right.
Because if you're just going to beat them up when they fail, then why are they going to come to you?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you don't have the trust of your franchisee. How are you going to get the trust of the community? But if you have your franchisees back in situations like this, you have a hurricane, you have a tornado, you have, snowmageddon, you have something happen, you have a significant other pass away.
Hmm.
Husband and wife owns this store. One of them passes away tragically in a car wreck. Who's going to help them? The other spouse is in a world of hurt. But what if you had somebody at corporate that can go, okay, we need to get you a couple more employees. We can manage the scheduling and that kind of stuff here. We can talk about this and this. Do you have somebody that can, assistant manager? Do you have, okay, you don't have an assistant manager. Let's get you an assistant manager. We can send you somebody from corporate for a week, get everything boots on the ground done, get you through the funeral, get you through grieving, get you through, you know what? You need 2, 3 months off. Let's figure out how to make this happen so that you can recover and come back. But that human element, no,
It's gone.
no.
It's not
Sink or
there.
swim.
No.
Sink or swim. Here's a rock.
Yeah, it's not
And
there.
screw you because you're not paying me.
Yeah, it's really another thing that not surprises me, but I was thinking about is, I don't know if they sell it to the franchisees like it's your business. We're here to help if you need, but it's all yours. It's everything. Run it the way you run it. With our guidelines and stuff. But then it's kind of like they're really touting and especially the franchisees that are hurting. They're like, we're independent businesses. We really have the ones that are trying to say they have nothing to do with corporate. But then again, corporate can come in anytime and just rock your world in 1 second if they decide
Mhm.
to. So that's
You
not
can't.
really,
It's the rule of you gotta.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
And if you don't, you're against us. And then
Yeah.
the threats of anybody that talks up
Hmm.
or talks out is against us. And you know what? We're going to come after you
Yeah. And they
because you
have.
talked bad about the franchise.
Yep.
You know what? If you didn't have anything to worry about and you supported your franchisees,
Yeah. They're suing
but you have
everybody.
absolutely no stopgaps, no help, no real resources, no training, no documentation to help. Why should each franchisee have to come up with a training manual
Exactly.
for your requirements?
Yeah. They should have an SOP that's just across the board that
Mhm.
everybody knows. Training,
Here you go.
everything,
This is a
everything.
form.
Exactly.
This is in a business that big. It should all be on some sort of
Exactly. And they can, the POS systems are all, you know, throughout every store. So they have, I think they use Slack or something like that. So they have,
Slack is a
yeah,
communication. It's
yeah,
just communication.
right,
Then
right.
you have your POS software,
Yeah,
which was through company A.
yeah. Starts with an H,
That
maybe.
was just
I don't
money
know. Yeah,
and financials and that and inventory.
yeah.
Okay. And then you have a corporate created buy program.
Okay.
So, and it was really robust and it worked really well, provided you had good settings, you could pay well for your Lego. But if your franchisee decides that you're going to pay low, you can change all that. So you can kind of guide. I mean, it comes with presets, but you can change all those presets to be what you want it to be. So each store has that control. But the software was really profound, and I gotta say, it integrated well with a lot of things. It got real bumpy when we worked with the integration. We had a customer that came in and he had points on one and points on the other, and they tried to merge it and lost them all,
Oh man.
and basically told him, "Oh, too bad."
He lost. They didn't
And it was
revive his
40. It was like
points.
$40.
My gosh.
Too bad.
Oh no. No, 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 no. I thought you were gonna tell me, okay, they lost the points, but at least they they gave him his $40. No.
No,
Oh my gosh.
didn't even cross their mind.
Wow,
Didn't even cross their mind to make it right.
man. So
But if you're not trained
yeah,
because you don't have a PR stopgap,
yeah,
this is how we do customer service. This is what we believe in. And this is how and you know what? If you've got a problem and you can't give them their $40 in discounts,
yeah,
we've got some real fundamental problems. So let's go back to training and figure that out because we
yeah.
can't have a franchisee, that can't deal with a $40
Right.
issue.
Or if they don't even
You
know
can't
that
get the,
that's
yeah.
wrong. That's not right.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
why do I need to write this shit down? Sorry.
Yeah.
But I mean, why do I have to write this
No,
down
it's
to
all good.
make you
Yeah.
human well?
Exactly. Man, that's well that you got that's lots of problems if you don't know that's wrong. You know what I mean? Oh
Right.
man.
And it was
They've
just
been
like, oh, too
loyal.
bad.
They've been loyal on 2
Okay.
platforms and
And
they're
this
just out.
customer,
Yeah.
this customer was in the top 5 for the last 10 years.
Man, sad.
But because they have a
Sad.
corner on the market,
Yeah,
people will still shop there.
exactly. Well, for now, I don't know. I don't
Oh
know what
yeah.
it's looking I don't know what it's looking like now. So,
And
yeah.
to be a fly on the wall to find out what sales really are and how bad they're dripping. And
Yeah.
you're saying that the stores are closing, but to
Yeah.
be, in that loop of, you know, how do we, just
Yeah.
the,
Yeah. It's gotta not be good. I don't think it's good. I mean, and
mm-mm.
I've talked to franchises and they're like I said, they're hurting. I haven't talked to the Boise one because they're not, after these videos, they're not gonna
Oh
talk to
no,
me.
they'll tell you gumdrops and lollipops
Yeah,
anyway. It
and
doesn't matter.
but when I did talk to him, and I alluded to that, I mean, I said that in another video, that when I did call and I talked to Joe, he was like, "Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing, it's just a couple of crazy reviews on Facebook, but other than that, we're better than ever." And I'm like, "Really?" Because that's not the consensus when it's thinking about that I was hearing from other stores. And then he came in and he said the most thing he's upset about is, Ammon and how Ammon's being treated. And I was like, I don't know what happened. My brain exploded a little bit. I of all the things that I would not have expected, that would have been what he said. But in hindsight, knowing all this stuff now and the whole interaction and the
Mhm.
family involvement, all that, obviously it makes sense. But to me, as just a regular customer that go in all the time and support this family business, it was nuts. And then that's the last time we spoke. That was it. And
Yeah, but I mean,
so
it's like it shows you exactly what they believe in.
yeah,
It
totally.
shows you exactly what they believe in.
Yeah.
And they know what's going on because Joe's
Yeah.
brother-in-law, Adam,
Yeah.
works at corporate.
Yes, yes, totally, totally. And
Mhm.
with yeah, so much more stuff coming out with
Yeah.
this thing. I know everybody's waiting for part 4 of Ben's thing, and that's kind of,
Oh,
he's digging a little bit, into more of it, and he's alluded to what he's doing as far as, the connection. And that's when I made that video. I mean, he even was talking about they're looking into the like the LDS aspect, the Mormon aspect and stuff. And I mean, I was like, okay. And without seeing it or knowing it and stuff, that's why I want to make a video like, hey, here's my experience with the LDS and stuff. And I don't
mhm.
and he was saying the same thing. There's a lot of people in the Mormon community that are totally against this. They're even protesting with him, an American fork and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's just, but it's just going to be interesting to see how it plays out, and what's once the dust settles, what this is going to be. When you, I know I asked before, I think I went off on a tangent. When
Hmm.
when they finally let you go, let me, how did that happen? And was that just like, was it like a quick thing, or is it like you kept hitting, you kept hitting your head against the wall because you're like, if we want, like, I'm here to be successful and help
So
you guys out. And then
yeah,
they just had enough and they're like, we don't want to be
right.
successful. Get out of
So
here.
I'm really good at projections. I'm really good at what I do. So it's like I went to the family and I said, hey, if we do not make changes now, come June, this is going to be a real problem. And there's going to be a point of return where we don't have enough stuff on the shelf. People aren't going to come back. It's a real problem. We have to start buying more. What's the problem? How can I help? You don't know what you're talking about. Sales are great. Okay. To the point where Joe yelled at me in the vault. We had like the bank vault was in there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And, he was frustrated. And I get that he was frustrated. But at some point, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You do not yell at an employee. They don't deserve it. They don't need it. It's disrespectful at best.
Yeah.
It's abuse and harassment,
Hostile work
hostile
environment.
work environment.
Yeah.
And then shortly thereafter, I made a big deal about you do not do this. It is unacceptable and it will not happen again. You can't treat me like that.
Right.
Okay.
And
Okay.
as they should not treat anybody like that.
So we had a meeting with Joe, Kendra, and I at Starbucks. And I made the comment of, you know what? It's really nice that Reed has enough money to make a metal colander float. But you brought me in here. You two brought me in here to do A, B, and C and promised me multi-location experience. And that didn't happen, nor can I support it. You guys are just playing store. When you want to run a store, let me know. Joe's not a tiny dude.
Yeah. He's a
Okay.
big dude.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah. I'm a 5'1" woman. He stood up, stood over me in the middle of a Starbucks and yelled at me.
Man.
Yeah. This is who these people are, and blamed me
Man.
because it's my fault. And then, you know what? Reed wanted to have a meeting and I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like getting yelled at in the middle of a Starbucks again.
Yeah.
And so, we just kind of connected via phone and he said, we're pretty much at an impasse. And I said, I agree. Joe was having an issue with his current employer because
Yeah.
he doesn't work full time at the store. So his other employer, he was having a problem with it. He would come into the store and complain, and he switched jobs at that same employer to get out of whatever situation he was in, and he still wasn't happy. They gave him my job.
Right after you guys parted ways, he just took your job right up.
That's the whole reason why they let me go,
Yeah. They were
to
just,
give the job to family.
yeah. I gotcha. Yeah. So
So why yell at me in a Starbucks? Why yell at
yeah,
me in the vault?
exactly. So
Dude, it's family. We need to cover our own. This is what this job is for. This is what this business is
yeah,
for. It was always about the family. You got to go.
yeah.
It's like days before
Nepotism.
Christmas, but bye-bye.
Yeah. So I mean, so you think that was their plan the whole time? And then he just
Mhm.
kind of went through well, I'm gonna make this
Yep.
scene. I'm gonna do this so we could,
Yep.
maybe they're
It's all
trying to
Tavia's fault. It's fine.
maybe they're trying
And
to
I don't know
make
what
you
they
quit.
told
You know
Reed.
what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they told Reed because
Yeah.
at some point it was all my fault. So I'm sure they told Reed that it was, Tavia's causing problems, and I'm not sure. I don't know.
How dare you?
I
How
don't
dare
know.
you try to make them profitable and
Right.
build the community up and
How
get
dare you get frustrated
yeah.
because we don't have product to sell?
Yeah.
How
Well,
dare you get frustrated because we pay our people damn close to minimum wage for Idaho?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it seems. But I mean, it seems with that, they should only, in that situation, if they're just going to run it however they run it, don't worry about it. They have, a seemingly unlimited checkbook
Hmm.
to just bail them out. They should only have family there and they just hang out and come in whenever they want. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But the problem is that even at that, it can't get done.
Yeah. 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 It's going to be, yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts to a store like that. No pun intended,
Hmm.
but I mean, with Lego parts and all these,
No,
there's a lot
there's
of
a
different
lot
things.
of,
Yeah.
it's more than just unlocking the door.
Right.
It's more than, customer satisfaction. It's more than, there's a lot of dynamics to it. And if you don't understand retail
Yeah.
and then you don't understand business, you're going in with both hands tied behind your back.
Yeah.
And you really can't win at that. And that's not fair. And that's where corporate needs to be going, okay, I understand you don't have resource or you don't have retail experience, you don't have, business running experience, but our training program is so robust that that's okay.
Yep. You'll be an expert coming out of this if they, yeah, but
Right.
they don't. And it's,
You won't come out of it because you'll be in it. You'll
yeah,
be in it to win it.
exactly. And we're here to support you, which is what
Hmm.
should have been the whole time. I mean,
Right.
and that store, I mean, that brings to question the Boise store with Reed owning it. If they're not interested in growing or opening more stores, under that umbrella,
Hmm.
or being successful in any way, like, then it's like, what is it? I know he bought it for his kids, but at the same time, it just brings into question all these other things. Like, what's it, what is this really for? You know what I mean? As far as,
Hmm.
because they're
Well,
seemingly not, I'm not talking about them that run it there, but Reed and people like that are seemingly business people and know what, supposedly know what they're doing.
okay, being a CFO and running a retail store, not the same. They don't even meet in the same hallways.
Right. Right.
I mean, those people don't drill down to the microscopic. Why am I losing 2.5% month over month on minifigs?
Yeah.
Why am I losing? You know, why am I gaining 15% month over month on things I don't have a great margin on? Is it merchandising? Is it do I need to do something different? And how do I respond and not react? And what does this look like? But when you have people who are career CPAs, and he's got a great track record, so it's not like we're talking about somebody who's just running. I mean, he's got a significant resume,
Right.
and he's no joke by any stretch. But being a CPA is different than running a retail store. And if your focus isn't managing, isn't dealing with the day-to-day operations, and you don't care about that stuff in your own store, you own more than 50% of the corporation.
Mhm.
What's your motive?
That's what I'm saying.
If
That's
it's
what
not a priority
yeah,
here,
yeah,
what is your priority?
yeah, and what's
Because
really
it's
yeah,
not keeping franchisees long term.
right, and it's
It would be interesting to go, to look at, and I think Franchemp has a number, but I can't remember what it is. But the tenure of each Bricks and Minifigs over the last 10, 15 years
yeah,
and how it's changed year over year. I would like to know that number. I don't have the drive enough to get that number myself
no, I
because
gotcha.
I don't have that kind of time. I'd rather do this kind of stuff. But
Yeah, yeah, of
you know,
course, yeah,
this talking
yeah,
to you is much more fun than
no, yeah,
doing math. But
looking at the stores,
right.
how long they stayed in business or before they sold
But
or got taken over and stuff, yeah,
that would be an interesting number to come up with because
yeah,
when you look at these new franchisees, what were they told?
yeah,
These for me, I would think that a franchise would come in and go, okay, the average McDonald's is open forever. They do not close. And when they sell at a much higher rate
yeah, then the
than
buy-in,
they
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
These people have been profitable. We can show that on a P&L because we've shown that on our tax returns. We've shown that in, our FFDs. We've shown that in, whatever the franchisee has to report. We've made great money off of them. They've made great money. It doesn't happen at McDonald's. I mean, it's just your franchisees stay there forever and they grow.
right, and then they sell if they wanna sell and invest in something else, but
Yep.
they
Right.
yeah,
Right.
that
Chick-fil-A is the same way.
yeah,
They invest in their franchisees. They make sure they know how to run a business. They've got little kiosks.
yeah.
Like you can open a mall store and they'll teach you how to run the whole mall store before they give you an actual drive-through.
Yeah, there's one here at the college, and it's the
Hmm.
only Chick-fil-A here in town, but it's at the college, and it's
Hmm.
a little, that's where everybody goes to lunch, and it's in their little
Hmm.
food court area, so
Yeah,
same
but they
kinda
do a
deal.
great job at training and they do
Yeah,
also a great job at restricting what you do in a safe environment until you can prove that you can handle a responsibility really and truly when you get into these deep waters of owning a storefront, it's a lot of pressure, especially when you've mortgaged your house or you've taken a loan against your retirement and you
yeah,
don't have the support. I mean, and the
your life
emotions that come
savings,
with that.
yeah,
How do you not lose sleep? And then you can't perform at work. And then you can't find employees. And then you can't afford employees. So you have to be there from bell to bell.
mhm,
And you're so tired, you're not giving excellent customer service.
yeah,
But if you don't have corporate coming go and going, let, yeah, let me help.
yeah, yeah,
If you don't have that, you're not going to be successful.
right, right,
And you can't tell me McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or, a number of these franchises that have been around forever, with the exception of KFC and Arby's,
Yeah.
because, you know,
Yeah.
ew. Sorry, in my opinion,
We're like, not all
whatever,
of them.
whatever that's,
No,
not
no,
all of
it's
them,
no, it's all
don't
good.
get me wrong.
No, it's all
Yeah,
good.
no, but you have that foundation with these other franchisees or franchisors that have done it and done it well. Why are you not taking your blueprint from them?
Yeah, exactly.
This is, it's not
Exactly. And they've already it's
a
proven
secret.
track record and it just works and they already have the infrastructure to make sure you're successful. But that's why it goes
Hmm.
back to I feel like they're just in the franchise selling business. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
There's no real follow-up and if you make it, you make it. If you don't, you don't. You know what I mean? And that's kind of
Right.
where it has. But also with Reed being majority owner, most likely, he with 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 his store right there and them not having the motivation to be like the example of this is how we run it and this is how the example of success. If it's not from there, there's no hope for the franchises unless they
Right.
have the business
Right.
wherewithal or the experience to make it work. Because where are
Hmm.
they going to get it from? So I don't
Hmm.
know. Like, where do you see everything go from here? I mean, I feel like they're going they're gonna go down, obviously, and they're trying to take as many
You know,
people down with them as possible. So I don't know. I don't know where I see it going.
well, and it begs the question: how much money do they have to throw at these lawsuits?
Yeah,
Because the money's going to run out.
correct.
I can't imagine Reed letting this faucet flow much harder, especially because his name has been in the public so much he can't ignore it.
Exactly.
And he's probably now watching this stuff
Yeah,
where he wasn't before.
right, right,
I
right.
don't see Reed as a big internet guy or a big YouTube guy or a
Yeah,
big Facebook guy. So I don't know that he knows the significance of what's going on, which is sad because if it was me that was in charge, you better believe I better know what the hell is going on. And
exactly.
if some YouTuber showed up at my front door, dude, come in, let me buy you a cup of coffee. Let's figure this one out. I need to know the facts.
Right, exactly.
And how can I help? Because I am going to cut this off before it becomes a PR nightmare.
Yeah, and
How can I help? How can I make this work? It's
yeah,
too easy to fix it to begin with.
right, but
You know, get really good at saying you're sorry and you were wrong. I mean,
exactly,
it's a skill. It's a definite skill because you can't have a fragile ego if you're good at that.
exactly. and and doing something for the betterment of even swallowing your pride a little bit and doing it for the betterment of your franchises so they can
Mm-hmm.
succeed and then make implement these things in a place where they can succeed going forward, especially but now I mean it's been drug on so long and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and more things just keep coming out. I know you've been talking with Echo Base and stuff, and so I
Mm-hmm.
know there's way more way more things that are gonna
Oh,
come out, and I know you probably can't talk
if
about
if
a
if
lot of that.
if I don't, yeah, no, it's a baseball bat in a hornet's nest in a way that cannot be fixed.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't want you don't have to say, I'm not gonna make you say anything, that you can't talk about. It's coming
No,
out soon.
it's gonna
Yeah,
be bad.
yeah,
It's gonna be really bad because it's not something that money can fix. It's not something that and I'm sorry can fix. This is lived experience and this is how you treat people. And it needs to damn stop from the local level. Yeah, it's bad.
yeah. I gotcha. Is that
It's really
is
bad.
that gonna be is it their next episode this week? Is it coming out in the next few days?
No, 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 no. That interview with a group of people is not been done yet. That's gonna be Tuesday.
Oh, I
We're
gotcha.
gonna actually record the video or we're gonna record the interview
Yeah,
and then they've got to go through editing and that kind of stuff.
of
And then
course. Yeah,
yeah. So, here's the reality of it is that I I don't believe they survive this. I really don't.
yeah,
I I hope that the franchisees band together and they find a resource and they find tools and they find an easy way. And there is a way to package all this up and go, this is how we're going to do it. And we're going to do it as a team. And we're going to make sure that it's all legal and above board so that nobody loses their shorts. Whatever that looks like, whatever that separation looks like, that's the only way to cure the community
yeah,
or to rebuild brick by brick.
yeah.
Because when you take this many people who are this disgruntled, it's much easier to get out in a way than it would be if it was just one,
Right.
where they're coming in and taking your keys.
Yeah,
So you're so far removed from your other sister stores, you're an island by yourself. Corporate hasn't integrated you to be in a co-opetition state. They haven't done any team building between the franchisees. They haven't developed tools and resources to bring everybody together. And if you can do that in an environment where they don't feel isolated and they feel like they have a solution that isn't going to financially break them
Mhm.
and emotionally break them, and there's a real solution, I mean, you can't fake this one. You've got to be sending a real life raft. And whatever that looks like, whoever can do that, whatever that, but you can't tell me this community can't come together with all of our wisdom and make it happen.
Yeah.
So I hope that's what happens.
Yeah.
And with as much grace and kindness that can be delivered on both sides, that would be the most beneficial for everybody.
Right.
Bygones. I don't want to be a part of you. You don't want to be a part of me. You know, we're just going to step away gracefully.
Right.
I don't know how deep the pockets are on the BAM side
Yeah.
and whether or not they're just going to continue to sue to the bitter end because they are a dog in a corner.
Yeah. I mean, is
And
everybody
it's not where you should be. I don't feel bad for him because these are the natural consequences of his actions.
Right.
It sucks for him.
Yeah.
It really sucks for them
Yeah.
because they could have done this so much differently.
Right. From the beginning. You know what I mean? It's like, and they've had so many
Why would Kai,
opportunities.
yeah,
Yeah.
why would Kai come out and say, we talked at her?
Yeah.
Holy Batman.
Yeah. You're talking about Crystal Gorman,
Yeah,
correct? Yeah.
when they talked to Crystal,
Yeah.
we talked at her.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said. He's like, so did you talk to her or at her? He's like, we talked at her. I'm like, okay. And then him like, he's like, now I know this sounds like a threat. It's because it
Because it
is.
is.
I'm like, dude.
And okay, now that that's
Yeah.
come out, how many franchisees are going to trust corporate?
Exactly. And they're just
Because where's Kai now?
right. I don't know.
Where's Kai now?
Yeah.
Is he still there?
Yeah. I have no idea. Yeah. He's probably hiding out somewhere. Are you, speaking of Crystal, have you talked to Crystal? Are you guys in communication?
You know, I've had probably less than 5 sentences back and forth.
Yeah.
Um, I'm willing to share tools and resources
Yeah.
and ideas and motivation and support emotionally, whatever that looks like.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
she's got her poop in a group at this point. I mean, she's not in bad shape
Yeah. Yeah.
from what I can see from the outside. And
Yeah.
I've seen her in chats and kind of talked her up a little bit.
Yeah.
But, being kind of left to flail as long as she was,
Yeah.
that could have ended much worse than it's going to end.
Yeah.
She may get some resolution out of this, and we may not know. I mean, at some point, if they've got deep pockets and they start panning everybody off
Yeah.
to shut up,
It's going to be
just
behind
know
closed.
that I didn't.
It's going
Yeah,
to be a
just
behind
know that I
closed
didn't do it
doors.
for any.
Yeah.
Just know that I didn't do it for anything less than 15 million.
Yeah. Exactly. You know what? That's my starting
If I
point.
drop out,
Yeah.
it was a big damn number.
Exactly.
So I mean, and I say that in jest. There's no way they're going to do that. I
Right.
don't hope for it. I don't. It's just it comes with an NDA but if they settle out of court with Crystal and they settle out of court with Ben and they start making this get real quiet real fast,
Yeah.
they still can't repair the damage that they've done to such a tight-knit community.
That's true. That's the thing. They can pay everybody off, or they can even
Mhm.
they could even win legally, no matter how heinous that
Yeah,
looks.
no, yeah.
But you're not going to win the court of public opinion. You're not going to win
Mm-mm.
all of us millions on the internet that are watching this unfold and
Mhm.
being horrified at the train wreck.
Well, and especially if you continue the behavior you're continuing now, and that's all they know.
Yeah.
They don't know how to support. They don't know
No.
how to train. They don't know how to provide tools and resources.
Yeah. That's their playbook. It seems like they're just, that's what it looks like from the outside, from the outside looking in the research I've done, that they're real good at talking it up and selling franchises and having you come out, to their store.
Yeah.
And then you're on your own. You're on your own until,
Mhm.
we'll see what happens. I know we're hitting like the 2-hour mark. I could talk to you all
I know.
at night.
And we
Is
can
there
do this
any-
again.
Is there,
We can definitely do this
going
again.
forward, I'm just hoping that was a question I had. So did you have an NDA when you worked there? And is it already lapsed? Or I know we talked about non-compete, but yeah.
That's a thing in and of itself.
I gotcha. Okay.
That's and the only reason why I'm keeping it quiet is because somebody else is going to cover it.
No, I totally get that. No.
Yeah,
That was
no,
one of my questions.
it's-
I'm like, did
yeah.
you have the NDA?
No,
Yeah.
it's
So
it's one of the foundational reasons why I believe that they run fast and loose.
Yeah.
And the rules don't apply to them
Yeah.
because I can bully you into, because I'm going to tell you on your exit interview,
Yeah.
you have an NDA
Yeah.
as a minor.
Yeah. No.
And if they're telling,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So,
that's not
if,
even that won't even
yeah,
that's not even, that's not even that can't even hold up if they're
a
if
non compete,
yeah.
but the non compete says you can't work at any store that sells any toy building material.
Yeah. For how long?
You can't work it.
5 years, 10 years? What's
It
indefinitely?
depends.
No.
It depends
Yeah.
on which form they give you.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends, and when they give it to you. So it's one of those things where it's again, it's across the line between the rules don't apply to me because I'm
Yeah.
going to bully you into believing it anyway
Right.
because you don't know the law.
Yep. Well, they're good at writing it in. That's what it seems like. They're good at really covering their own asses and writing everything, they could possibly be writing it
Well,
in
and
there they
here's the
could
deal:
possibly come up.
is
Yeah.
writing it in doesn't make it legal.
That's true. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, you write in a contract that you owe me your car if you don't pay me 6 bubblegum sticks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But a
Gotcha.
lot of people are so scared because they have money and I don't.
Yeah.
This was a retail job and they told me, and if they told me and they're such nice people and they've been in business for so long, why would they lie to me?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I mean, it is scare tactics and it is, I mean, that's what we're talking about. Even the franchises, they're afraid. They see what they're doing to people like Brian. Like they're saying one thing and then they're suing him for 1.3 million. Every franchisee knows that. So they're afraid of getting
Yeah.
sued into oblivion. And they're like, okay, we don't have, 200,000 for attorney's fees for the next 6 months or what have you. So they're freaking out. But that's,
Mm.
I feel like the answer is for them to come together and figure it out and then just pivot to something sustainable for them because it's I feel like it's going down anyway. The name's been dragged through the mud. And that's what most of them signed up for in the first place, that trustworthy name that's not trustworthy anymore. And
Well, and
yeah,
here's a question. In the FDDs, in the disclosure, Bricks and Mini Franchising Inc., a Delaware corporation,
yeah,
does not own the trademark.
yeah.
They don't even own the name.
Wow.
And they're changing that around right now. I mean, there was things changing last night in the middle of the night.
Yes. And 3 days before that too.
No,
They've
this
been
is at the
yeah.
trademark registry.
Wow.
Yeah, this is with their trademark because it was registered to BAM Franchising Inc. in Oregon
Yeah.
until last week. But that Oregon business has been dissolved for a while.
Yeah. They're moving things around. It's a shell game a little bit there. Yeah,
So is that transparent?
yeah, no, it's going
Or would have been like, dude, we did not have our poop in a group and we've learned a lesson. This is what we're going to do. We're going to change our trademark to put it in the right spot. We've got a trademark. We just didn't do the paperwork because you know what? We didn't want to pay the attorney and that costs money and nobody's got time because there's only 10 of us working at corporate
yeah,
and we don't know what to do. That would take a lot of humility. We've got our corporations expired here and they still have assets, but we're running out of Delaware because we want, the benefits of a Delaware company, which is legit. It's like we didn't have our paperwork in order. And because, nobody's got their eye on the ball because we're running fast and loose and we're learning how to do this. But you'd have to have a whole hell of a lot of humility for that.
yeah,
And you'd have to pull up your big boy pants and you couldn't have a fragile ego, but that's the only way they'd be transparent.
right.
But they're doing all this in the middle of the night and not telling anybody about it.
Yeah. Well, they don't
So
want
if
to
they're changing
yeah,
business names
yeah,
in the middle of the night and locations, who are you going to sue?
exactly.
Who do you go to arbitration with?
Yep.
Who has the assets you can sue?
Yeah, but they're very good at that as seen in their past dealings and stuff. So that's their MO on that. But also
Yeah.
they don't want to admit any fault. You know what I mean? At all. Like no, I'm sorry. No, okay, we messed up. Most people, I think, business wise, PR wise, a long time ago would have been like, look, we messed up big time. We're gonna fix this. Let's fix it and then move forward. But they're not doing that at all.
No.
I don't see any indication of anybody admitting any wrongdoing. It's only been done to them. It's the internet that's taking them down because we all,
Right.
obviously before this, we all had meetings and we're like, let's
Right.
go after, oh my goodness. It's
Right.
That's
So we need
crazy.
to get enough of us to talk out and actually talk facts and bring receipts. So
Yeah.
just on a selfish point, because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah,
I agree.
at some
No.
point,
Yeah.
y'all got to come out quickly. So
Yeah.
if we could make that happen, that'd be great.
Yes.
But at some point, it's like, I get that I'm sticking my neck out
Yeah.
and I've got nothing to gain. I really have not a lot to lose, because what are they going to sue me for?
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of assets at this point, and it's just not. But they like to dig that knife in,
Yeah. And be as petty as
a-
possible. No,
and
I
be as
get it.
petty as
They
possible.
are that's what it seems. That's what it seems like. They'll go after anybody. And,
Hmm.
even with YouTubers, like they're just reporting the facts. They're not conjecturing. We'll use words like allegedly or this is what,
Hmm.
we've been saying. And people are trying to be as careful as possible. And they're still like, this is this, and they're trying to get it all and
Well,
trying to
yeah.
quiet it as much as possible. I really appreciate you with
Thank you.
putting yourself out there and your honesty. It's very refreshing, especially when there's a group like this size with that much money that's doing everything they can to quiet everybody possible.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So for you to even stick your neck out and saying, look, but I mean, you have a lived experience. You're right in the middle of it. You've seen the inner
Hmm.
workings behind the scenes and dealt with these people before anybody even knew any of this was going on. So,
Right.
yeah. So,
But at some point, I'm either like helpful or I'm stupid. It's like
yeah.
I haven't decided whether or not it's like
Let's go
this
with
is
helpful. Yeah,
okay.
let's
Yeah,
go,
it's just like is this may
Yeah,
bite me in the butt for a little bit, but
yeah,
at some point it's worth it
yeah,
if these people get some relief. I mean, if one or two franchisees get some
yeah,
relief, it's going to be so worth it.
of
And
course.
even if we can share our experiences, it's the human component on the AFOL community
Yeah,
is tremendous.
yes.
And if you take that heart away from them, and I mean, like you shared with me, you're kind of spent emotionally and you don't want to deal with your Lego right now.
Yeah, I'm in limbo about
But
it.
if you,
And that's why I spoke up too. Like before my channel was like, this is my fun channel. I'm like, here's my hobby. I want to share it with you guys. What do you let's nerd out together. And then this thing happened and then it just kind of floored me. And then I start as it, continue to unfold, then I'm not going to my local BAM. All these other players are involved. Some of them I
Mhm.
know personally. It got real quick, for me.
Yeah.
And then I lost that joy for a little bit. I'm getting it back because, but it's like I lost like I wasn't buying any sets. I didn't build anything, and it's like, what am I doing? And it's just you're in this, it's like it feels like it robs something from all of us. You know what I'm saying? Because people that are
Mhm.
in the community or perpetrating to be part of the community, you know what I mean, are doing sinister things. And it just made a lot of us feel horrible. And that's why I'm like, I'm going to talk about this because I know a little bit about
Right.
it. And I know some of these people, that are involved. And I just can't be quiet anymore. And if this can help, with, freedom of speech and bring, shining light on these dark things that are happening
Mhm.
and helping these people, the franchises that are suffering, that are just caught in the crossfire. If I can do it in some small way by talking about it, that's what I'm going to do. And that's why, that's where we are. And that's why you're here today. So
Right.
yeah.
And we haven't even gone to the ripple effect.
Yeah.
That's how affecting us individually.
Yeah.
But what about the conventions?
Yeah.
These big, huge conventions, where they have all the mocks and yeah, it's glorious and it's beautiful and they put on a great show, right, wrong, or indifferent, or no matter what's going on on the outside of the walls. But it changes the juju on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really kind of puts people in a different perspective when they could just go in and enjoy it, but there's this cloud on it.
Yes. Have you been? I know you said Mock Fest. Have you, since this whole thing came out, have you been to any
Mm-mm.
conventions or anything?
I
No?
haven't. I haven't got to experience that
Yeah.
yet,
Yeah.
except for our local mock fest, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do such a great job.
Yeah.
Um, and I look forward to that. But like I said, I didn't have a lot of Lego experience before this,
Yeah.
and now I'm hooked. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
get. I'm in, and I
Yeah.
mean, I think I'm proving that I'm in by sticking my neck
Well,
out
of
a little bit.
course. Yes.
But
We
yeah,
appreciate
it
that. AFOLs
yeah, no,
uniting.
totally worth it.
We
Totally worth it.
There's one called Brick Slopes, and there's actually they
Yeah.
have two. There's one in Utah, which I'm like, Utah, am I gonna go? Am I gonna go to that one this
Mhm.
year? And then they have one in Colorado. So it's Brick Slopes, and That one's supposed to be a pretty good one. I know there's Brick World, like, in Chicago that the
Mhm,
Gormans just went to, and they were there, and it was kind of a little bit weird for them when they went to that one.
mhm.
The organizers came up to them and said, "Hey," and they're like, "No, no, no, we just got invited. We're not gonna try to go
Yeah.
see it.
No, no, no.
We're just here
But
for
then
the love
again,
of Lego." Yeah,
it changes the dynamics
yeah,
even in that venue.
yeah. It's crazy.
And it would be interesting to see how it's put off the community and buying in big box stores too.
Yeah, yeah,
And whether or not it's actually created this micro, I mean, you'd need an actuary to check it, but I mean,
yeah,
but I'm sure it's making an effect long term.
yeah. What?
Yeah, this is worse than COVID on the Lego community.
Yeah, I
This has
agree.
hurt the Lego community far worse than COVID.
Well, I've had so many people, like, they're just like, "I'm done with Lego." Like, comment after comment,
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh," and I'm sitting here with my freaking collection. I'm like, "Am I done with Lego? No, not yet." But, it's really hurt them, you know what I mean? And speaking of conventions, there was a convention, my hometown's Corpus Christi, Texas, and there
Mhm.
was a Corpus Christi Comic-Con there, not too long ago, and I didn't even realize there was a Comic-Con in Corpus Christi, to be honest. I'm like, "There is?" But evidently, like, Kimberly, like the Pink Ranger was there, Ray Park that played Darth Maul. I'm like, oh, they know about that
Oh,
place. So, but Bricks and Minifigs was the big sponsor. So they did like a whole
oh,
cantina, like a Star Wars
mhm.
cantina backdrop, and it was crazy. And people like just boycotted them. They were leaving the convention. They didn't go to their booth. And so and this was like right after like part one came out, and it had a big impact on that. So I can see that going forward because a lot of these conventions, BAM will go in and be a sponsor. You know what I mean? And they'll have their setup. And that was one, it's because it was in my hometown. I was like, what? And yeah, it was a big boycott of that whole thing. And people were, not letting up
But
on them there. So
but here's a human element to it is that people may not remember the facts, but they'll remember how they felt.
yes. Yeah.
And if they go into these conventions and they come out feeling negative in any way,
Yeah.
they're going to feel that the following year.
Yep.
And they may or may not reach back out.
Yeah.
When they do those conventions again and they start advertising them, they have to really push to make sure that they're healing that part of the community.
Right.
And having a solution for that part of the community because if BAM shows up again and they've got 3/4 of the stage or whatever, whatever that looks like,
Yeah.
45 feet on either side.
Right. Yeah. I don't think the vendor in that one, I mean not the vendor, the promoter or whoever, I don't
Mhm.
know if they just didn't check the internet at that time, but they obviously
Well,
I
they
would have
plan
been
that
like,
stuff
"Hey
so
guys."
far ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
They plan that stuff so far ahead and they give the
Yeah.
deposits. You can't really
Undo it.
shove somebody out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't undo that.
Yeah.
But if you don't make a conscious effort the following year
Yeah.
to heal that portion of the community,
Yeah.
and whether it's getting the kids involved, doing, whatever that looks like, it needs to be something where it brings the AFOL community back to a place where they can actually trust
Yeah.
what's going on.
Exactly. And nobody wants to pay to go to a convention or just hang out to feel bad in any way. You want to go there and meet
Oh,
fellow
yeah, no.
fellow nerds and geek out together on all your stuff, like talk Lego,
Mhm,
talk everything. You don't want to have any kind of bad feeling going in there or leaving with that bad
mhm.
feeling, of course, at all. That's
No.
not it's all supposed to be a great gathering where we all
Mhm.
come together from all over the place and
Right.
celebrate together. So yeah, definitely
But
not a vibe you
it's
want.
definitely
Yeah.
right. No,
Yeah.
but it's so easy to change. It's
Yeah.
so easy to change. And, there's so many people that are running on emotion, rightfully so, because this is their entire life.
Yeah.
And they don't have the ability to think business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not emotional, it's not personal as retail, and there's no crying in retail. So, but it's incredibly impossible to take that emotion out of it when you have your entire life savings wrapped up in it and you haven't made a profit in 3 years.
Yep. Understandably. Yeah.
And how dare you as a franchisor watch your franchisees not have a profit?
And no
How dare you?
yeah, exactly. And no solution. No solution. And
Right.
just like,
It's
I
your fault
I
because you're
get
not trying hard
yeah, I
enough.
guess you guys failed. Well, we're gonna come take over your store
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, because you
So
can't trust us.
exactly. Yeah, man. Well,
So, yeah.
yeah. So before we wrap up, is there any I'm like, we're like 2 hours and 30 minutes. I can talk about this all day.
And it
I'm
was
like,
so
this
easy.
is
It
gonna
was
be
so
this is
easy.
gonna be a 4 hour interview.
No,
Yeah, is there anything you wanna say or put out there before other things come out, or what you're feeling, or any of that, you know?
no, but just know that there's a lot that's gonna come out. There's still a lot there. There's still a lot of resources. There's still a lot of technical stuff that's coming out that will change the dynamic of things in terms of not being able to bully people because the facts are the facts.
Yeah,
And once the facts get out there, you can't take things off the internet,
right,
no matter how hard you try.
right,
You may be able to shut up the guy that put it on the internet,
right.
you know,
For a time,
but it's out there.
for a limited
And at
time.
some
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
it's like, let's just get it out there all at once.
yeah,
And so I really urge people, now is the time to just put up or shut up.
yeah,
Let's make it all happen all at once.
yeah. Let's all speak up. If you know
Rip the
anything,
band-aid off.
yeah,
Let's figure it out. So we need a place for these franchisees to go, what are our resources? And have a venue where people can go, I can help with this. I'm a vendor, can help with 30 or 40% off. For a wholesale at this price or whatever that looks like. We'll rapid fire you into a whatever,
right,
right? We have the process to make that happen. We'll send you, discounts. Attorneys,
yeah,
insurance agents. You have to have all of that fundamental building block to really have that support. So I think if there was like some sort of a website or some sort of a Facebook page or some sort of a community spot where people can anonymously go, I can help here.
yeah, yeah,
I can't help, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the wisdom, I don't have arms and legs, but I've got $500. That'll help pay for attorneys, that'll help pay for branding, that'll help pay for something
right,
so that these franchises, and I hope that they stay together.
yeah,
I hope this is something that bonds them together, that brings them closer, where they can actually use these tools and resources as a bargaining, taking that bargaining, collective bargaining and the unionizing,
yeah,
if you will, but keeping them together because they came together as in an emotional time where they were alone
yeah,
and they don't have to be alone anymore
right.
because they've got people that do it just like them and they have the community supporting them.
Exactly. And if they have those resources to be able to pivot into the next
Hmm.
thing, it's probably going to be way more resources and way more support than they have currently, or they've had this whole time they've been in business.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's
Right. Right.
that.
Right. And once they realize that,
No.
you can't tell me we don't have attorneys in the AFOL group. You
Oh
can't
yeah.
tell me we don't have accountants in the AFOL group
Yeah.
that would be willing to pivot to make money in this. Because we're not talking about people donating their time, energy, and effort. We're talking about let's pivot and work together so we can all make money.
Exactly. Well, there's CP AFOL. I don't know if you've seen his videos, but he's a
Mm-mm.
CPA and an AFOL. So there's one right there. I know CP AFOL. If you're out there,
Right.
man,
Yeah.
help
A
these
plus.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But that's one thing that I haven't heard. I haven't been in contact with the people at that have gotten together. I would like to get together with those people because there's a solution and
Yeah.
it can be much easier and it can be business facts, not pie in the sky, not bullying, not chaos, not
Right.
we don't know. It's based on transparency and
Right.
collective, group thought processes and reasoning and path
Right.
that makes sense. It's not something that's like I don't know what to do with this because it's foreign.
Right.
It's we're going to do this together and we're going to hold each other's hands while we do it.
Yeah. And not have to live in a constant state of fear, giving the thing
Right.
like, is my business going to be gone today? Is it going to be
Right.
shut down? Are they going to sue me? That's not what they got into this for sure.
No.
So,
All I have is the option to sit here and lose money
yes.
because I can't be profitable. Because corporate has set me up to a point where I don't have the margins to be profitable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is sad.
Well, that's not what I don't even, without looking at their contracts, I don't even think they're not holding up their end of the bargain. You know what I mean? That's not what they signed on for. And all
Maybe.
those points, maybe they
I
did.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh
Because if
man.
it's in their contract
Yeah.
that, you're required to buy your new inbox from this company,
Yeah.
and we know they're only going to give you 15 to 25% or 15 to 20%
Yeah.
margin,
Yeah.
there is no retailer out there that does that. That's not a retail thing.
No. That's so I mean, margins are usually like 50% or something like that, right? Depending or right around? Yeah.
No,
Yeah. So,
better. In retail, it needs to be better than that.
yeah, to be profitable. Like that margin is so, once you pay for shipping, like we
Mhm.
talked about all that stuff, what do you 1% maybe? I don't know. It's not you're
You
not
can't
making
keep the lights on with that.
yeah, you're not
You
making
cannot
money.
keep the light because the
Yeah.
employee that it costs you to put that in the system or to mark the price on it and put it on the shelf,
Yep.
it's gone.
Yeah.
At that point, it's just gone.
Right. Yeah.
And we should not be running businesses that have the opportunity to be as profitable as they can be.
Right.
I mean, these stores can be profitable
Yeah.
fast,
Right.
incredibly fast,
Right.
incredibly fast.
Well, and if they have like we're saying, if BAM had the negotiation power or the skills to get with the vendors and actually get a good deal for all their franchises,
Mhm,
that would help aid in their success. You know what I mean? But they're not
mhm.
seemingly doing that. So yeah.
No,
So
no.
well,
So
Tavia, thank you so much. Thanks for
you bet. Thank
thanks.
you so
No,
much.
thank
This
you.
has been a pleasure.
Thank you. Is there anything else? Is
Yeah.
there anything else you want to say before all this listeners? I know
No,
we've covered so much,
no.
and there's so much more to uncover.
I
Yeah, we're
know.
all going to be
I think we're gonna be
watching.
friends for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I think we're gonna be friends for a while.
yeah,
This is gonna be,
yeah.
even if it's commentary or something,
Of
crazy
course,
like that. I
you
mean, it's just, yeah. Don't
no.
hesitate to reach out.
I
It's gonna be
I
kind of a
won't.
wild ride.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. Anytime you want to talk about
Well,
this, and
thanks.
we're all going to be watching. I know, like you said, there's some things coming out. I know you have your with Echo Base coming out, and it's people are
Hmm.
going to be like blown away. Probably it sounds like with the stuff coming out, and
Oh,
we're gonna see where that goes from there. But I'll probably have you back on sooner than later
yep.
after all
Yep.
that
Yep.
all that
Yep.
comes out.
I'll
I'm
keep
sure
you
everyone's
posted.
going to be talking about it. But thank you so
Yeah.
much
Well,
for your
thank
time,
you
and
so
yeah,
much.
I
I appreciate
appreciate
you
it.
giving me the platform to kind of reach out
No.
and share the hope,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and the key is everybody coming together, especially the AFOL
Yeah.
community and all different facets, like you said, and helping each other. And we can move on from this, and it can be way better than it's been for everybody
It's
involved.
it's way
So
it's way too easy.
yeah.
It's way too easy.
So
So I think if somebody was to step up and to really take the reins and just do it from the perspective of being a good human, it would go so much further. It would go so much further. So yeah. With that, my friend, I'm gonna let you run with scissors and go do some editing. When are you
okay.
gonna release this
I'm
guy?
gonna try to release it tomorrow. So
Shut
yeah,
up!
I don't know.
That's
I'm
awesome.
not gonna sleep. No, we'll see.
Oh
We'll
my
see.
god, it's like 2.5 hours
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like
Yeah, it's like
stuff.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit stop
So
real quick. Hold on one second.